So cool. Unless she does something crazy, she'll be a mod. You know what like
How do
a
they
Discord
become?
mod is?
I've heard the term, but I don't, are they like paid? What are they?
No, they're not paid. It's just I moderate them. It's like slash mod blah 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 name, and then they get certain rules and privileges, so they can like spam big paragraphs or post links or do all caps or whatever. So they just get a couple extra privileges. But then they can time other people out, or if I ask them to, they can like temporary ban people for like an hour or whatever. Like if
So
someone's
it's just a person that's volunteering.
yeah, it's just a person who volunteers their time and effort, which I'm
What do they
happy
get out of
with.
it?
They get a special little badge, and then they have special rules.
Oh,
So you know how much people will do for just a tiny bit of status in life? It's like that, but on the internet.
oh,
Yeah,
neat,
it's working out pretty well.
cool.
Let's see. Other than that, I've been slamming Shadow of Mordor, and that's been an absolute blast. Not Shadow of
Nice.
Mordor, Shadow of War. That's the game I was just playing. Um, humongous game. It's an app. I've been like 40 hours into this game, and I'm just now in the like last act.
Is that what is it? Lord of the Rings game?
Lord of the Rings game, yeah.
Nice.
Like it's basically it's a different storyline than what Lord of the Rings would have been. So in the Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor, you have to deal with Celebrimbor, the guy who makes the rings, and then you go around fighting everybody until you eventually fight the Tower and the Black Hand, like the two hands of Sauron, and then you beat
Hmm.
them, and that's the end of the end of the game for Shadow of Mordor. And then Shadow of War, you're going throughout like all of Mordor, like all of it, all the different factions and forts and stuff like that. And then you have to like dismantle his army, and then you brand the other orcs, and they become basically your slaves. And then you build up your own orc army, and then you fight the armies against Sauron's army, and then you have to go fight all the Nazgul, you know, the Spirit Kings.
Hmm.
And now I'm going around collecting the rings of power from all the Nazgul to go fight Sauron later. So it's a
Um,
shit ton, and there's side quests and secondary missions and all this stuff. And I haven't even touched the DLC yet, so
nice, cool.
it's a great time.
Well, good. I'm good.
Thank goodness I found this game too, because Helldivers is crashing right now. So many
Really?
people are leaving the game, unhappy with it, not watching any content with Helldivers. There's just
What
been
happened?
like two back-to-back terrible decisions. They released a brand new like Freedom's Flame war bond. It's like their shop basically. But you can buy stuff with like all the in-game currencies, like samples and war bonds and medals and stuff. But right when they did that, everything's fire-based. They nerfed all fire damage. So it was like they're like, here's this cool, awesome thing, and it does nothing. So people were really disappointed with that. And then they turn around, and a bunch of their developers were on vacation for like 6 weeks. So they just came back, and they released a patch to try to fix a bunch of stuff. And now everybody's crashing for like 4 days now. Like,
Uh,
there's tons of things where you'll be like running around and you shoot a rocket at something, and then your whole game crashes, like shuts down everything. And you're like, well, there just went half an hour of my effort. What the hell is that? So people aren't very happy.
damn.
Yeah, they're being foolish.
What a bunch of silly gooses.
Bunch of silly gooses is right. And then I have my business cat, Lazy Bones here. Um,
Business cat.
yeah, he has a tie on. You can see his
Oh,
tie.
yeah.
He's unionized, so he's really the boss here. He's the one who keeps the stream running.
Yeah, he's got to keep someone in line.
Somebody in line.
You know what I mean? Without him,
What will I be doing? Just playing video games? That's
exactly.
crazy.
Fucking blank.
Lame.
Well, that's good. Good. Good.
Let's see what else is going on right now. Russia's losing, which is crazy.
Real bad.
Didn't expect this turnaround so quickly.
Yeah, they're in Russia.
Yeah, they're taking over Kursk region. They're finally isolated all of Crimea. They sunk their battleship with like 4,000 soldiers on it. They've been damaging their oil fields and oil refineries. They've been blowing up their airport airstrips. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, Russia's kind of a paper tiger.
Well, now that fucking Ukraine has F-16s and are allowed to use their artillery against the Russians in Russia, Ukraine went, well, I'm gonna blow them all up. So it's unfortunate people are dying, but Russia started it.
I feel bad because a lot of these Russian soldiers, like, they don't want to do that either.
Nope.
Like, they're getting blown up, they're getting killed. I mean, this is what all the fucking, when you hear all the songs growing up about like the war shit, and they're like, they're like Fortunate Son, they're sending our people over there to die and stuff like that for a fucking war. You don't really get it. Like, I thought though, like, these are hippies, and then once I hit like older, I'm like, oh, this is what they mean. These are kids that don't want to die. They're like, dude, I don't want to fight you. And the guy's like, I don't want to fight you either, but they said, so I got to shoot you in the fucking face.
Yeah, there's a 19-year-old who is launching artillery at towns. That sucks. Like, to both be the 19-year-old and to be the town. Like, yeah. That's not a good situation.
Well, I know my old boss, we were drinking one night, and he told me a story. So he's a bit older than me. I think he's like almost 60 now. Time though, he was telling me a story when he was in the military. He actually got what is that called? Where they look at you for like being in like they looked at him to be in Secret Service because of
so he was at different types of selection, but yeah.
So whatever that is, yeah. So because he was at a wall, I think in Germany. Is that where it was during like this
Berlin Wall?
I guess, yeah.
What timeline are we in?
Probably the 70s.
I think Berlin Wall was still up in the 70s. I'm not positive.
Okay. Whatever it was, he was somewhere in Europe. I remember he was telling me, and he said that what was fucked up is because these guys, the night, like, while they were there, he's like, they're all like us. We're all drinking and partying. He's like, we're trying to fuck, their women and stuff like that. And then he said when he was on duty, this kid comes running up and he's all fucked up, and they're like yelling at him, like in whatever their language, I think German, whatever. Sure. I was like, dude, stop, and he's running at the wall. The problem was though, the president was going to visit that base, and so I guess they had to keep it like very secure. And my buddy, or he happened to be at the wall at the time, had to shoot the kid.
Yeah,
because he crossed a certain point. And like he was telling me, he's like, yes, I've had nightmares. Like, he said they asked him to like, or basically like prepped him to like try to join the Secret Service. They're like, oh, you're willing to shoot people, and he was like, I don't want to shoot anyone else. He's like, he goes, it wasn't. He said he wasn't partying with that kid. But he's like, I was partying with a bunch of people like him, like just the night before, and then I get up in the morning and he gets drunk and stupid. And I got to shoot him in the face. I was like, well, it's
the exact reason I have this Secret Service coin.
No. Now you shot somebody too?
No, I didn't shoot anybody. There's no record of anything like that. When Obama was on Hawaii, I followed the Secret Service's instructions, unlike most of the other people who were there. And I had to raise my gun at somebody, was willing to shoot them, and held them down in lockdown for like the hour that Obama was playing basketball at the gym. But I followed all of their instructions and like how they were supposed to do things to a T. So then I was in charge, as a corporal, I was in charge of like sergeants and everything else like that. And they gave me the Secret Service coin. And then after that, they were really pushing me to go to embassy duty. And I went, no, I want to get out and get fat and go to school. So
sounds way more fun.
Yeah, it was. I had a great time. I enjoyed every bit of it.
Great.
Yeah, but they really were pushing me to go through embassy training, and inside embassy training, they have their own selection process for Secret Service and other stuff like that. So,
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, people are dying. I don't like it.
No, I'd prefer no one to die, but then we would get overpopulated really, really quickly. So.
Yeah, not really. Dude, honestly, it would not if people were not greedy, because people that are that make a lot of money don't tend to, or that make an okay amount of money, don't tend to have a bunch of children. People get more educated when they are, and they only need to have, what is it, like, I think it's average, 2.1 is what they need, right? 2.
For the bare minimum, like just to keep your population absolutely steady, 2.1 is good. I guess it's 2.5 is what most countries want, because they want having a growing system, not a maintenance system.
But I think if you get to that point though, like because people will start having they show like poverty-stricken countries have a ton of kids. Like, have you seen India's new population demographic?
Mm-mm.
Like they have almost no regions in India. There's like two like way in the south, and what I was reading is that they're really really shitty areas still, as far as India goes. But they're no longer having children. Like they are. There's going to be a fall off like it's happening to China and Japan right now, and they actually have like 4 or 5 regions that are worse than like South Korea, which is the worst
Oh
right
wow,
now.
yeah. South Korea's at like
Yeah,
1.5 or something right now. It's
yeah.
bad,
They
bad.
had yes, they have them at like 1.1 in India right now, which they're overpopulated.
Yeah, they are super overpopulated, and
Yeah,
they
so
have a
I
very
so
strict caste system. So like
yep.
if you're not already in the good caste, it's really hard to live. So
Yep. So I mean, so I think it always takes care of itself. Like, cause you'll have these huge populations, but I mean, it's happening to China. China did the same problem. India didn't even do anything. China enacted a law, but Japan and them, they didn't do shit. They're just that people were like, we're stopping fucking. I don't want to do this anymore. Life's hard. I'm not gonna bring someone else into this.
mm-mm.
Life's good. Be all right.
Life is living. That's all we
But
need.
dude, oh, it's great. Yeah, dude. I just fucking paid off my car finally. My car's done.
Ooh,
Like,
love to hear
yeah,
that.
yeah, I know. And I officially got my accepted my new position here, or I got offered my new position. The other guy is getting fired, the counselor, so I get a nice little $12,000 pay raise
A year? Yeah,
in
of
like
course a year. It would be crazy if it was a month. Never mind. I
that.
take that back immediately.
No, that is in about in a month. My pay will go up like 12. It's because the total pay raise difference from my position to the next one is 25,000. So I will get my pay will go up $12,000 when I take the new position per
Okay,
year,
cool.
and then and then so and then my next they want to give me the max out on the other position I'm getting, but because we're on a DoD. Yeah, I know my boss is like, yeah, we want to get you the max immediately. But the DoD, they don't allow it. Like I have to be in that position for like 6 months before they'll allow me to go up to max or
Are
shit.
you considered a G employee, like a government employee right now? Like, are you on the G scale rating or are you an independent contractor working for
No,
it?
no. So we have a cooperative agreement with the government.
Okay.
So I am not. No.
Okay, cool. Still,
Yeah,
yeah, the government gets picky about promoting people too quickly and then just giving them raises.
yeah. Well, because the government, the DoD, kind of dictates. Like they give us our cooperative agreement. There's a bunch of rules in there, and they're like, follow these rules, or we will like cancel your agreement. Not with us, probably, but with other ones, they will. They're really hectic, dude. It's actually crazy. I think a lot of the Apex are getting shut down.
Oh no. What's
Not
making you
ours, like
say
ours,
that?
because everybody's quitting.
That okay.
So
That'll make sense.
well, they're putting in a lot of new rules. Uh, like the only reason the native apexes are okay and we're like not scared is because we're actually in like we're like in law. They have to do this because there's certain things they have to like the federal government has to do with us, and the apex is like one of those programs that they have to do. The rest of them they don't have to, and so it looks like they're gonna start trimming because they're making a lot of new rules and they're making you do a lot of new reports, but they're not telling people how to do the reports. Um, and they're making people nervous. So my boss said she's working HR with government, without government a long time. She said this is kind of like if you want to, and a lot of the other people too, the program managers. I've seen this before. I guess this is the way you do shut down a program. You do a bunch of shit. You kind of fuck with them. You make them these things they can't do. Like you make all these expectations that you know they can't meet, and then eventually people get scared and they start quitting or they get frustrated and start quitting. And you get them down to basically a manager and tell the manager, "Hey, yeah, the program's being just yeah." So she said, and she said one of her friends from Oregon actually runs the Oregon program, and she came and asked her, she's like, "Do you get the feeling they're gonna cut the Oregon Apex program?" And she was like, "I don't
Maybe.
know." Yeah, because they're starting to lose people. So people are starting to jump ship right now, which is scary because even if they're not going to cut the programs, we already have trouble finding,
People.
yeah, for this because it's a very specific skill set. And so they're, yeah, so it's getting scary. Like I said, our program will be fine, um,
Right,
but
but if
other
the
programs,
Oregon Apex gets canceled or gutted, then that's either going to put a shit ton more work on your guys' shoulders, or the power and reach that you guys have is going to get cut. One of the two.
no, no. So we have the entire Northwest. So Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and but we can only help Native Americans, Native Hawaiians, or Native Alaskans. So we have a set demographic we can help. We
Oh,
like we
okay.
can't. Yeah, and so we're chilling. Like my boss, like she talked to one of the big shots, and then our what's it called lead, and they're like, I don't know, I don't think we need to be worried because everyone got their budgets cut this year by half, like
You
a
were
half of
telling me
the
about that. That's
yeah.
crazy.
We did not. We didn't lose a penny, and because they can't apparently, from our understanding is that people up top, like the people that understand the laws, of like yeah, they can't actually cut our funding. So we're like, okay, cool. So they
Is
can't
it
actually cut
because
our
you
budget.
guys are like in a contract, like a 10-year contract or something like that? Or
It's some sort of deal they made with the tribes. I can't remember what it is. It's basically a similar thing, like with what they have with the BIA when the BIA was created, and it's something to do with that. They have to provide so much help to like the tribes to do things, and this is one of those things. Like it's part of the program is to help them get into contracting and stuff like
okay.
that. And this program is specifically for contracting. So I don't understand all the ins and outs of it, but from what the big heads are saying, basically it's like it would take basically like an act of Congress to basically defunct our program because they would have to go way up to the top, and it's probably unlikely.
And at that
Uh,
point, that would be newsworthy. That's for sure.
yeah, if that was to that point, then we're like, all right, well now we can start looking for new jobs, and I'm not super worried. So I mean, but even if they do, I mean, at this point, I've met a lot of new people and stuff, and so
And
not
you've
as worried.
demonstrated a willingness and capability for the skills that that type of job needs. So I think you're in a
Yeah,
good position.
yeah. I'm just trying to get to this new role, and like I like as long as I'm here for like at least a year, I think I'll be absolutely fine. Um, you know, so we'll see. I'm not too worried anymore. But you know, stressful for those people though. That'd be hella stressful.
Yeah, that'd be
It's like
hard. That would just be
having
flat
your
out
budget.
difficult.
Yeah, having your budget cut by half is ridiculous. What would you do? They're like, hey, I can't afford to pay any of you guys. Like they're starting to furlough employees and stuff.
Yeah. And then they have to make decisions about probably they have like plans that last multiple years, and now all of a sudden they have to look at these plans and go, well, that's cut, that's cut, that's cut. I guess we're left with this one. Like whatever their thought process is, I have no idea.
100%. We have things that on the books for like next July, like already right now. It's like, okay, well, like if they were to cut our budget by half, like, well, we can't do that. Let's scratch that shit. Um, Yeah, I don't know. Very scary time though, but this isn't the only program getting that kind of treatment right now. It's weird too because they're promoting so much, like fucking the war effort, war effort, war effort, war effort, and it's like, whoa, it's like, and like I told you before, like we bring in like they said it's a 5-to-1 investment. Every dollar they invest, they get $5 back. Is what we
Well,
bring
that's
in.
the best thing.
It's so much, and so that's what everyone's wondering is like, why this program in particular? It's obviously worth it. It does. It's not even one that's like bad for for our economy. So I don't know. There's something's going on somewhere. I think maybe it's just a program that like I don't know. They're looking for extra money somewhere, and they're like, well, cut these fucking guys. Whatever. We'll figure it out.
Thanks, Biden.
I know. I'm also not wondering if there's a lobbyist because they are. So if you Google, if you Google right now, doing contracting with the government or with the state or whatever, the top ones that pop up would be a bunch of sponsored links on people charging you $10,000 to do stuff. And I'm wondering if that doesn't have something to do with it because how profitable would it be for a big company to step in and lobby and say, hey, we'll give you $1 million to spread out to all these politicians and say, hey, do away with this program. We'll make that back in
Because
fucking
you're
6
the
months.
free program. Yeah, you're the
Exactly. Yeah.
TurboTax of the contractors. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm wondering because like I'm not like I mean that's like it couldn't happen, but I mean, dude, it just, like, definitely fucking could.
Tinfoil hat, and you're still right.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, and it feel like I wish that's not something that would happen, but I mean, how often does that happen? Like
oh,
fucking, I
all
mean,
the
that's
time.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, our healthcare. Yeah, you're right. The tax system, those things that should be handled by the government. They're like, well, never mind. Private companies probably trustworthy, right? They're like, what? No. When?
And then you look at the history of every private company that's been given that, and they go, they abuse their power?
What?
What? Just
Not.
be
Have you seen? Oh my
Disney? Were you
god.
about to say Disney?
No, but that's another one.
Oh my god, with the you watched Disney Plus. I mean, now you can be killed in the parks. You can't sue
Yeah.
us. Teehee.
Now we can. That's it. I know it's out of extreme, but like now we can legally fucking kill you. For what? And you can't sue us. Why would you sue? You watched Hercules. Did you not know what you're signing
6 years
up for?
ago, you idiot.
It's like, you remember that guy too? He only had the free trial for like a week too.
Yeah. Well, what's the bullshit thing is on the website, he was like, does this have nuts? And they were like, no. And then he got there and he's like, does this have nuts? And they were like, no. And he's like, okay, I guess it doesn't have nuts. Oh, it had nuts. I'm suing you. No. Like, what are you supposed to do? How do you stay safe? Yeah.
No, I was talking about AgraCare, is it called? Um, they've essentially turned meat companies into cartels.
What?
It's basically what they do is they take data and they in real time show these companies what they should be charging and if they're not charging enough and what they can get away with charging. Uh, so it's a
So dynamic pricing for like heads of cattle?
no, so like so they take like so the five major meat companies are all part of it. They all use AgraCare and it's Tyson and whatever the other four are. Basically, they'll go in and they'll say, hey, yeah, kind of like that. They're like, hey, we think people at Walmart are willing to pay 11 cents more. You should just charge 11 cents more. And they're like, okay. And they're like, hey, your competitors are all charging this much. You should charge this much. And they all are in on the game, though. So it's not like they're fighting each other anymore. They all can see each other prices. And they're like,
So
okay.
it's flat out insider trading. Like,
Yeah. Yes, it's a fucking cartel. It's a meat cartel. They all know what they're charging. And they're like, in our territory, we charge this much. We'll charge enough. We all obviously we want to screw over the consumer, but let's not screw each other over. And the crazy part is though that's not the only fucking one. There's one for apartments. They have like what is it like fucking it's the same thing. It's like the same thing. Like all
like
five of those
Dirkston apartments and stuff like that.
yeah, how to charge apartments, what you should charge, when you should kick people out, what kind of clients you want, if they, how they look and how you should charge them more. And it's the same shit like Tyson and them have. Like Tyson has this area, these other meat companies have this area. It's the same thing. It's giant apartment companies that own a bunch of housing. They're like, oh, they have the West and they have the East, they have this area, and they all don't fuck with each other. And it's a fucking mafia family. And
Great.
there's like 3 more of them that do that.
So it's just the most dystopian version of AI. Of
Yeah.
information gathering, conglomerating like resources, and being like, let's min max for profit, not for sustainability.
Yes.
Got it.
They are no longer fighting each other. They are like, let's team up. We could fuck over these people.
That's a monopoly and illegal.
It should be illegal, you would think, but they are actively suing because they do it. This is the crazy part. So, do you know who Lena Khan is?
Nope.
She is the works for the Department of Justice. She is like the head of their area now, and I fucking love her. She's like 30 years old, very young to be in that job, and she actively says, "I don't want to get out of this job. I want to be here forever. I want to make sure people watch their step." She's the one that's fighting. Kroger and Albertsons are trying to merge right now.
I did hear that. Yeah, I saw that on the TikTok.
She's the one that put a stop to it.
Good.
She's suing them right now. Yeah. She's suing their dynamic pricing. She sued the airlines. The airlines, they have the same thing. They have the same system, just like AgraCare and all that. Those guys, airlines have a very similar system, and she's suing them to break that up. She's the one suing Google to break up their monopoly.
Wow. She's gonna commit suicide soon.
Dude, I know. That's everybody's scared of her. Well, the thing is, though, apparently, I was actually watching this YouTube video on it. Apparently, she's a big deal, and a lot of people are scared for her, like actual safety, because the last 20 years, the person in her position, without fail, all of them have immediately, as soon as they're done with their position, which was very short term, they went and worked for a large company, so they're probably getting paid and then offered a large job. And she is the only one that she has come out and said, I don't want to leave this job. All of them have had being like, yeah, I'm going to be here and then I'll go move on with my career. And she's the only one in the past 20 years is like, nope, I want to be right here. And
I know exactly where my power is, and this is what I'm going to use it for.
Yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
So she is, and she's a fucking bulldog apparently. So I'm excited for her. And they apparently they've been trying to, a bunch of the big companies have been trying to convince Kamala Harris to take her if she becomes president, to take her out of that position, to not make her part of her cabinet. And Kamala Harris actually just backed her and said, no, she's right where she needs to be. And so that's exciting. So now, even if you don't even like Kamala Harris at this point, and Waltz, like her specifically, is such a fucking important person for the Americans to have there on their side.
Man, I hope that the American ideals of prosperity are what went through in this election. That I think that we will with Camilla Harris and Waltz. I think that they do have the best individual ideology for the American people, especially compared to Trump.
Oh yeah.
That with that's a wash. That without a doubt. So I really hope that they get in there and then they make actionable change. Biden has made decent amount of change, some changes, but
Biden has made like I think I told you this before. I think people underestimate the kind of changes he made, um, because they're not things right in front of your face, and because the company price gouging the American people, we didn't get to see a lot of it.
right.
You know, and also it takes a long time. So right now you can see that the house pricings, things that he was working on, are starting to fall. Pricing houses in like Austin and Seattle, Portland, they're all starting to fall. Like
Interest rates are going down again, which is
interest rates are going
awesome.
down, and those are all things that Biden did. The CHIPS Act is we won't see the benefits of the CHIPS Act for probably a decade, and that's all his doing. You know, that's what's like his one of his main things. And then plus the money he gave out, the Build Back Better. Again, we won't see that because he didn't get that done until like the third year into his term. We won't see that because it's a 10-year plan. Also, we won't see that for another decade, and we won't even know he did it. Like we'll be giving all the benefit to Kamala Harris probably into her term. Like that's how we got all our funding. That's how a lot of programs get their funding. That's how we get to help people, and it's working. We see it working. Like in our small microcosm of Indian country, the last year or so, we've seen this huge influx because we have enough money to fund us, to give them business advice and say, hey, if you want to start a business, or hey, do you need to learn a skill to do something? And it's paying dividends.
That's
It's funny.
phenomenal.
It's yeah, it's weird. If you give people the tools to work, they'll work.
Weird.
Yeah.
How peculiar. How
It's so
bizarre.
frustrating. Yeah. And it's already paying dividends. It will, like, they're going to have a better educated, better informed population that will spend more money. Because you see, Minneapolis, too, is another little small area of what Tim Walz did, actually, is Minneapolis has the most Fortune 500 countries based there of any city, except for LA and New York. So they're way high up there, right? Much smaller than those areas, but they have that many. The reason being, though, is because they also have the highest tax rate on billionaires, on basically the super rich, and which they're like, well, people are like, well, that's if you they've been saying for years, if you do that to the billionaires, they'll leave, and it's like,
I was
well, why?
just about to say the exact same thing.
And the question is, though, yeah, exactly. Why are they still there, though? It's because the tax burden gets lifted off of those people. They get to do things like, I don't know, feed their children, give them free education, train them better. So the people now, not only do they're better educated, they can do the skilled jobs that these big companies need, but they also have the money to spend on the stuff they want there. So it's like they could go for better tax benefits, but a lot of them are figuring out that if you go for better tax benefits, but you don't have the people to spend the money and you have to ship it places, it's more expensive. That's what happened to Elon Musk when he tried to move to Texas. He's like, California's like, yeah, go. And then he came back. He's like, yeah, it's because like, we have all the training and the money. And so it's so stupid because it's a win-win for everybody. The big corporations know what we know. It's like, you need us to have the money to spend, otherwise we can't buy your fucking iPhone now, man. If I only have, if I'm living paycheck to paycheck, I can't spend $1,000 on your new phone.
Yeah, no, I
And
mean, makes sense.
yeah, California and Minneapolis are proving it. And so I think a lot of people are like, I think a lot of Americans are starting to see the light now. Like, wait a minute now, is that hope?
Is that a light in the tunnel? This is amazing. I didn't know
Because
we
Kamala
had those
Harris,
in here.
it's been fucking stressful the last like decade. It's been pretty fucking pretty bad. Well, Kamala Harris with her new first hometown buyer, $25,000. That's insane. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
She wants to. That's one of her things. She wants to promise into is $25,000 grant for first time homebuyers, as well as falling home prices, as well as banning companies from buying so many homes.
That I
Um,
think is really good.
yes, she's trying to basically fix the housing market. And then fighting the insurance companies. Insurance companies are starting to not want to insure people. Same thing. They have another conglomerate where they all talk to each other and they're like, "We'll insure over here," and basically forcing them to insure. It's like if you want to be an insurance company, it's a lot of benefits from the government. Then you need to insure people. You can't just tell them I'm not doing it anymore, especially as soon as their houses are about to get ruined. You see what happened in Florida?
Because the hurricane was coming in, they canceled like 100,000
Yep.
policies or whatever, and then
Yeah.
Florida
People.
went. What do you mean? You can just go, oh, there's a natural disaster on the way. You're not covered.
Yep.
That's bullshit. Yeah.
Yep. And then what's his name? DeSantis. He took. They found out later he took like $10 million from insurance companies. That's where he's like, oh yeah,
A Republican is corrupt?
yeah,
What?
yeah. And he's like, well. I like. I love the way the Republicans also they try to sway this. It's like, well, you got to have a free market. It's like, dude, people are losing everything, and you're still talking about a free market. It's not working. It's not good. You don't know what an actual free market is if they can fucking rig the game with money.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. Free market implies that everybody has an equal capability to perform in the market. Free market is not that you have one billionaire and then you have 100 people who have $100 and you go, why does the billionaire keep winning the auctions? That's not a fair market.
Yeah. Well, it's also it's stupid things like I hate like people scream communism, but it's like some things need to be government ran. Some things don't need to make money. Like like
Some things
insurance.
should be services like the
Yeah.
Department of Education or libraries or the police department. The police
Yeah.
department shouldn't be a profit organization.
No, none of these things do. And it's stupid. Like they're allowing like now like there was a big story over in what was it in Mississippi? I think? This private insurance company bought a hospital. They bought it, gutted it, sold everything out, and it was more profitable to just get rid of it. They closed it down permanently. Now in that area, they had 3 hospitals within. I can't remember the distance of it, but they're like the other two were already overran at the time. The 3 hospitals, and then you just completely gutted one for money. You just shut down, and the government allowed it to happen. It's like what you guys did nothing as they destroyed your community.
Which then makes it so that any of the healthcare workers who are there get even a larger patient pool, which means they spend less per person, which means all of a sudden the cost per person goes up for each of the hospitals that are still there. And then all of a sudden you have the emergency room visits or anybody who's non-insured going to the rest of these hospitals, driving the profit margin down for those hospitals, which let's be honest, I don't think healthcare should be a profit industry, and yet it is, but that's its own conversation. And then all of a sudden you're going to start looking around at those hospitals and go, oh, well, those are losing money. Let's cut that one too. And then you're just going to do it one by one until there's nothing left or only one left. And then only the super rich can get it. At that point, you're still making less money than you would have if you would have just, instead of destroying a hospital, expanded like outpatient clinics to help relieve this intermittent stress.
Which is insane. It's like they're not good with some money. They need all the money, and they need it quick.
Yeah.
They need. It's like I don't want it in 10 years. I want it fucking now. Let's destroy this hospital and cut it. And it's just oh my goodness, it's horrible.
Could you imagine if somebody floated the idea of libraries right now, like in our current political sphere? If somebody was like, you know what we should have? We should state sponsor massive buildings with free knowledge for everybody. I don't think it'd pass. I don't think it'd pass in most states. Yeah, I think
they think of it as the dumb people, and I hate to say this, I don't want to call them, how do I say, not dumb people, maybe people that are uneducated. I think they have such a distaste for educated people. That's why I don't want to call them dumb. It's like people that are like your farmers and like that. Like in Lebanon, they hate like people that go to school. Like if you're so smart, you should have figured out how to pay your own bills. It's like what? I'm not an accountant, man. Like I went to engineering. Like, what do you mean? Like I never claimed I was smarter than you. I just know a specific skill better than you.
You're like, I didn't say I was better than you. I said that wall's gonna fall down. Like I don't care about what you're doing. That wall's going. Yeah, or that bridge is unsafe. Whatever.
Well, that's what I got like semi screamed at one time in Lebanon, so working, and they were like, because some lady told me, because she knew I was an electrical engineer. She's like, yeah, my son actually does work where you guys, where you guys do like we play around or some shit like that. So they started commenting to me, and I was like, your son knows how to like attach wires, and I like that because I can't do that. I was like, but he doesn't know what the fuck goes on inside his drills and stuff.
Yeah,
you don't.
You're like, he's a wire dog. I'm the one that makes the electricity go through the wires. Yeah. Like, there's a slight difference.
Yeah, you can use the drill better than me. Sure, tell me how it works. I want not that you click the button. How does it really work?
Well, tell me the torsion force and all that stuff.
I want to know. Yeah, it's like
Conservation of angular momentum and all that. Yeah.
And the math that goes into that shit and the science, they don't appreciate none of that. They just think it appears. Like, the magic that happens, all the new updates to your cars and your phones that you like to click on, it's like, how do you think that happens? It's a bunch of fucking nerds, as far as I can see, programming stuff and doing math to make your life easier. And you're like, fucking losers, what do they even do?
And then 30% of the time, the nerds are wrong, and then they test it and they go, I was wrong. Let me try it again. But when they say, oh, I was wrong, let me try it again, everyone goes, ha, that guy's an idiot. And you're like, no, that's the smartest thing he can say.
Yeah, I was wrong. It doesn't matter if you spent 10 years researching something. You're like, well, came to the conclusion, guys. I've been wrong this whole time.
Oopsie daisy. Now we know. Now we know that's not the right way to do it.
I'm 100% sure I was wrong. I just needed to make sure real quick.
Like the biology researcher who came up with like alpha wolf myth, and then he spent the rest of his career so far being like, that's not true. Stop believing it. That was wrong.
A bunch of fucking red pill dudes think they're alphas. Yeah, it's a frustrating time. But the good, I don't know. I have a strong feeling like now Kamala's going to win. It's just Kamala and Tim Walz.
My manager's look like drunk.
Huh?
My manager's drunk.
Manager, yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
That's how they get in the positions, though. They're fun. Party times.
Yeah, he just naps and hangs out. Sorry, carry on. He almost fell off by stretching, so I had to bring it up.
No, I think there is a sense of hope coming, which is unfortunate because like I said, it won't be for another decade, so we won't feel the benefits of it.
I mean, we will. I plan on living at least that long.
Well, no, I mean, we'll feel the benefits of it, but the hard time we just went through our like into our teens, or early, our 18s into more of our 30s and getting into our 40s is kind of that period of time where you build your wealth and get started. Like you said, you built it because that thing, but you could have built so much more had you had that combined with affordable housing.
I had the $25K, oh my god, that'd be amazing for first time home building.
Exactly. People like me who like, I'm probably going to buy a house now that I have my career's kind of going the way I want it to go. Regardless of what Kamala Harris said, I'd probably still try to buy a house, but now it's going to make it easier for me. Whereas if this had happened, say, a decade ago, things would have been a lot easier. I could have done things like, all right, I could have done things a lot smarter. That's what I mean. I still mean we'll still get benefits from it, but not as much as like say Gen X will, or the Alpha will get, or Gen Z. Yeah.
No, Gen Z is before millennials. Gen Alpha, and then what's the
Gen
newest
X
Gen?
No,
Gen X is before, then millennial, then Gen Z. We're Gen Y, but everyone went millennial.
Yeah, I don't know why.
We get our own special name, but sure, live it up.
But yeah, so we unfortunately we're every generation every time there's got to be one though. We're the generation that kind of got screwed.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I mean, if we're the generation that's screwed and every generation behind us isn't screwed, that's fine. That's fine with me.
Which how it should be. That's the mentality I wish everybody had. It's like, it's for the good of society. Like
a radical ideology is to want everybody else to be better than you are.
I suffered, so you must suffer. No, I suffered. That sucked. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Everybody who's been in the military, like, no, cancel. Don't do that. That's That's hard. Rough. Unless you're a very specific type of person. But yeah.
Yeah, no. I always hated that. Do you remember what is his name? The guy, he was missing one arm. Went to school with.
You and I went to college together with this person?
Yeah.
Don't know him.
Okay. You probably remember if you saw him. He studied with us a lot, but he was such a conservative douche. But it was because he was raised very, very conservative. His father was very conservative, whatever. But he's like, well, if I went through this, why would I want? And I'm like, dude, you lost an arm. And I was like, he goes, okay. I'm like, should everybody lose an arm, or did that suck? And he was like, oh, that's not the same thing. I was like, it's
the exact same thing.
How is it not the same? Like, if I went through all this poverty and shit and hardship, my nieces are right behind me. I'm like, let's fix this real quick, please, so that I don't have to do this. Please. I want them to be able to buy a house in their early 20s. That'd be awesome.
No, that'd be amazing. That's generational wealth accruing. Like if you're able to
Yeah,
get property, if you're able to get your feet underneath you and you're able to accrue wealth and have a better life than what your parents had, and then you're able to give a better life to your kids, that's a successful life. That's winning at life, regardless of how it looks to you
yeah.
or
Because
anybody else around you.
I know young professionals that are literally making, 80, anywhere from like 80 to like $150,000 a year, and they're still like, I don't want to have kids because I think it's pretty expensive. Like I don't know if I can really afford it and try to buy a house. And it's like that is a shame. Like you're the people that should be having kids. You're thinking, you're smart, and you make good money,
Look at
but you're
you.
still
You
like,
got
yeah, no.
forethought and determination, and you have practical skills. Can you actually have three kids? That'd be better,
Right.
actually. And they're like, none, none, zero.
No,
And you're
no,
like, all
no.
right, well, that's not great.
Yeah. I need some disposable income.
I need to
And
be
in
able to
most,
get DoorDash. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, dude, can you think like if we were in the 50s and someone was making that kind of money, like scaled back? I mean, they'd have so much buying power. It would be crazy. They're like, yeah, I can
Oh,
absolutely do
yeah.
that.
No, I love the conversation. Like, well, back in my day, we made $3 an hour. And then you show them an inflation calculator, and you're like, oh, so
Yeah.
you're being paid $32 an hour? And they're
Yeah.
like, what? What do you
It's not about the
mean?
dollars. It's the buying
Yeah.
power. Yeah. What can you get for those dollars? Probably a lot more.
Oh, you
You're
were able
waiting.
to work during summer and then pay for your whole year of college? Yeah, that's impossible.
Yeah.
That's a
That's
dream.
a fucking joke. Can you imagine if I could just you could just a teenager like, how you plan on paying for college? Well, I'm gonna work like 20 hours a week, I think, over this summer, and then I'll just probably, not work anymore. Like, that's smart.
I think
Okay.
I'll work at McDonald's for a summer. Should be fine.
Yeah, just take care of that, take care of my college tuition. You're like, oh, are you gonna buy a car too? Yeah, yeah, I think I get a car in there somewhere. Jesus Christ. If you work your entire
Oh,
summer
and
at
I'm getting
McDonald's,
married and having kids. It should be fine.
it's easy.
And then I
And
walked
if
into
that
the
fails,
office and I said, "Hi, can I have a job?" And they said, "Of course." There you
yeah,
go.
if that fails, if I don't want to go to college, I'll go to manufacturing really quickly and just also be rich comparatively. They didn't think they were rich, but I'm like, dude, you guys are so fucking wealthy. I have roommates and I make a decent salary, and I'm still like, I'm not that comfortable.
To be
I should just.
fair, if you were making money and then you came home and somebody gave you like a tuna jello, I would also assume I'm not rich.
That was their choice.
It
Their
was
easy.
100% their choice, but I would look at that and go, "Oh, we're struggling. All right, I understand."
That is poverty, sir. That is poverty food.
You're like, "Oh,
If someone makes me a tuna,
they're struggling." Okay.
if you ever serve me a tuna jello, I will hit you with it. You know what? This is an act of war. Obviously, you declared war on me for whatever reason. We're now enemies. I see the tuna jello. You don't need to speak.
Let
It's
me give you
fucking
something of my culture. You. Which is fucking
do
whack, just
this
hard
thing.
right.
Like, I see you, white man. I know what this means.
Did you see that TikTok of Kamala Harris talking to Waltz, and they were talking about like their tacos or whatever, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, no, I don't really do too much. Just I grill up the ground beef with some onions." And she's like, "Oh, do you add any seasonings?" And he's like, "Oh, just salt and pepper." And she went, "Oh." I just like started looking away and around, and I was like, "I like them. I like them a
Yeah,
lot."
I do. They're very like
Odd
and it,
couple.
yes, yes, and I like I like Tim Walls especially because they seem like you see like his kids getting him bunny ears on TV and stuff,
Yeah.
and and the way they act. I mean, obviously a lot of it's going to be like programmed, but a lot of it too is also got to be like spontaneous. Like where he stops and like he's telling the people about his daughter, like they're asking him questions about his stuff. He's like, "Oh, this is whatever her name is." She's like, "Did you know?" She's on like this team at this school. She's like, "Oh, and she's a social worker and she teaches skiing lessons." And like someone pointed out,
He's
like, dude,
just
it's like a
proud.
regular
Yeah.
dad doting on his daughter, like, and they're like, no, we want to talk to you, Mister. Like, you're gonna be vice president. And he's like, well, enough about me. My
He,
daughter here, though.
he's like, "We'll get to me, but look how
Yes,
awesome my daughter is.
she does.
She's a killer." Yeah.
Dude, that shit is just like, all right, well, because I think have you seen that kind of people talking about it now? Is like, it seems like he's showing like straight white men that like they don't have to be dickheads, like
The
older white men.
um beneficial masculinity, not toxic
Yeah.
masculinity. It's beneficial masculinity. And it's the ability to lead and be a leader without being violent, right?
Yes.
To be able to be
People,
calm and orderly and control a situation without having to be hoorah aggressive, without
yeah,
being the man. Yeah.
because the right has been for so long as a hellfire and brimstone type of masculinity. It's like, like you should be like, this is what a man is. Like, really, a man has to be someone that like puts his wife in place or not. A man can't just be someone that's a leadership and knows how to handle situations, knows how to stop bullies, knows how to be nice to people. That can't be a man.
And don't get
And
me
it's
wrong, I fully understand there is a time and place for violence. It is not every time and it is not every place. And so
no,
often people think it is.
100%. I have backed down from so many fights because I'm like, I am not going to fight. Like, if you try to stab me, I'll fucking hit you. But most time, I'm like, you can talk all the shit you want to me. I don't care. Like, I'm not gonna fight you over that.
Fighting
And
sucks. Everybody loses. And if
dude, it's not good.
yeah, and if you're the only one who's winning, that wasn't a real fight. You just
Yeah.
beat somebody up. Like,
Yeah, you're a bully. You just
Yeah.
punch down. And I think that's what people are forgetting because like they're trying to talk shit about this guy. Like, oh, well, he's not this. Like, dude was in the military for 24 years. He's a football player. He coached it. He's a football coach. He's a man's man. He's a hunter.
oh yeah,
he's exactly what they want.
his full on point.
His football coach. Somebody water over there.
Help that person. You're like, shit. All right.
Yeah.
Yes, coach.
As I mean, is I think that's why the Republicans they're having trouble picking on him because he's everything they want him to be, except he's not a dick. Like
Yeah, except he's blue, not red. Yeah.
Yeah, he said being a hunter. The NRA sponsored him before he went after them. Like he went after more stricter like at least people what is it called registering what I'm looking for stricter like automatic weapons registering for guns. Being a hunter, knowing he's a hunter. You know what I mean? It's the NRA. They were such a big promoter of him for a long time, and then they're like, oh shit, this guy's a true blue Democrat, huh? And he's like, yeah.
He's like,
I know how to use guns, and I just know how to use them safely. You should teach people how to use guns. And like, we want to sell as many guns as possible. Okay.
It's like, yeah, that's cool. I think people who own guns should know where the trigger is and how to use the safety and where to lock it up so that your 2-year-old doesn't get it and take it to school or whatever, or like your 5-year-old, whatever. I think that's base reasonable.
Because I am all for guns. I hate the gun control argument. People are like, you're taking away rights. Like, no, I agree. I want every American to be able to be armed if they want to be. I just also think there should be some sort of a form of training with them, and some sort of like it shouldn't take a teenager a day to order a fucking gun and then go fucking shoot a school up. That's dangerous.
That doesn't happen anymore, specifically because of the stricter gun regulation laws. You can't just walk into Walmart and be like, give me a gun, I'm out. You have to go through a federal criminal list, basically. And then you can walk it out the same day, depending on where you're at. I do think that people should have to have some type of at least safety training, not just an online course, not just a PowerPoint, did you read it? Should be some type of marksman instructor who's like, this is how you take care of your weapon. This is how you clean, store, maintain, and fire it, and what you fire at. As a rifle instructor, it's very important to me about all that stuff.
Yeah, just like if you got a car, if you want to go drive, hey, we got to test you.
I'm all about creating a department of weapons, like just like the Department of Vehicles. DMV, yeah.
I agree. I agree. Like I'm a pretty anti-government person, but also government has its place. We need it, and that's one thing I think we do need it for. Is like we should have the ability to track guns. I get it; it can lead down a bad path, but also
I don't believe we should track guns. I don't believe like individually you should be able to go, all right, where is Tony? He owns a rifle, 2 handguns, and a submachine gun. I don't think you should be allowed or able to do that. I do think you should be like, Tony, he has a Class B license, which means he could have any of these weapons legally. I feel like that's fair and reasonable.
Whatever. Yeah, as long as everybody's trained on their guns.
Right.
See, for me, there's details we worked out, obviously. For me, and I'm not a gun owner, so it's harder for me to say. I know as a citizen, there are like the new what the the most deaths. What is it from 14 to like 25 is
Most,
like now
yeah,
fucking
it's guns.
guns. If that's a problem, let's fix that first, and then we'll get more into the details later. Let's get this shit under control. Kids are dying. Is what's happening. So whatever's
Yeah.
happening is not working.
Where on the other
There,
hand, right, just as the gun advocate here, if you look over at the UK, they're now banning knives because there's too many stabbing incidents. And
yeah.
so at that point, you have to really look, is it a weapons problem or is it a person problem, right? Is it somebody willing to create violence and cause violence for whatever means they desire? That's the problem, not what type of weapon they're using. However, guns
Agreed.
are really effective at doing violence.
Yes, I was gonna say I agree, but I can't remember where it is. I'm pretty sure that someone also brought up this point as well for the state that there's countries that ban other non-gun weapons. America has just as many, or if not more, than most countries also of knife-related killings, and then
We're
we have guns on
violent.
top of it.
We're,
Yeah,
we're a
we
war
do a lot of
tribe.
killing.
We just
But
like
like
to get aggressive.
the big difference is that the other countries don't have the additional gun crimes that we do, and so it's like, all right, well, let's at least dial that down. And I think you're right. The big problem with America, though, that I will admit is that a problem that we will never be able to completely solve is that crimes seem to grow in cities, and we have the
That's
most amount of cities.
humanity.
Yes, we have the most amount of large cities, though, which is a problem. Like it's one of our the biggest benefits of America. We
Really?
have so many. Well, yeah, because I
Like
mean, if you think about
compared to like population or just like total number?
the amount of like I can't remember what they actually term it as. It's like basically like
Metropolis.
metropolis area. Yeah. So like I mean, if you go to California, you know what you have
LA,
San
San
Diego, San
Diego,
Francisco,
Santa Cruz, yeah, all that stuff.
all those areas are just boom, 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 right next to each other. And that's why like people they even floated the idea of just hosting the Olympics like half of them in America. It's like yeah, pick a fucking area and we'll put it there or whatever. And if there's not there, we can build it.
It's like, yeah, we can handle it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we
like go to
can
the East Coast.
too.
East Coast, West Coast, South. What do you want? You can go up to the Great Lakes area, wherever you want to do it. And that's a problem that'll never be solved because, like, if you go to like China, all they have obviously a lot more people, but they only have like three-ish major cities, or they consider them major population centers, and all the crime is in there. Outside of that, they're really spread out. Same thing with almost every other country on the planet. We just decided for whatever reason we're like everybody gets a major city because we have states. Every state needs a major city.
Every state does need a major city, and we have the geographic positioning to maintain it. Like, we
Yeah.
have the best river system for infrastructure. We then built the best interstate system. Our railroad system, people say, is garbage, but for shipping resources, it's phenomenal. It's really good.
The Mississippi is one of the most powerful tools in the hands of the American
Ever.
people.
Yeah.
It sets us. We lucked out like a hundredfold by the geography of America. It is built to like win in modern day.
Just
Being
win.
able to ship things, win, yeah, whatever winning means.
We're just built to win.
We're built to
USA.
win.
USA. USA.
Oh, exactly. Did you watch the Olympics? I mean, that was
Of
a lady talking
course.
shit.
A little bit.
Australia was like, we're beating the Americans right now. They're losing by like fucking 50 medals. And we're like, yeah, fuck you, Australia. I don't know why, but fuck all it.
We weren't even like, fuck you, Australia. We just went, as you were saying. Come on.
That's the funniest comments were is everybody else, like most of the Americans were like, I didn't realize we had beef with Australia.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know, Australia has beef with you. Like, I thought Australia was like another Britain. We're all cool with each other.
Well, it's really funny because Britain, right, the UK is kind of like an older brother who's like resigned, is like, all right, our younger brother's really cool. But Australia is like a little brother of us who's like, I'm going to beat up my bigger brother. And you're like, all right, buddy.
Come on.
All right.
Come on.
Go ahead. Give it a try. See what happens.
Yeah,
we won again. Gotcha.
Yeah. Easy. Really. And do you know why? I actually learned this. You know why China wins so many medals and started competing with America?
It's because did they just send so many people? I know we
No,
still send the most, but still.
We do send the most, but that's not the reason. Because the only reason we send the most is because we have the most that qualify. That puts us even better than other people. Because other people could send that many too if they qualified. But no, what it is China basically went into every obscure sport. That's why you see them like at synchronized swimming, synchronized diving. sports that no one else really competed in, that wasn't really popular places. They went into
Ah.
every single one of those and for like a decade pump money into it. It's not like it's like America or other countries could catch them on those if they wanted to, but it'd take a lot of resources, and it's just not like they have to make it popular in America or wherever they are. And everyone's like, meh.
They took the
Go
communist
ahead.
approach. Ah,
Yeah,
all the medals are for us. We just went
yeah,
where there was less competition.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they made their people. They're like the people were like, I don't want to see you guys in swimming. You're like, oh, you're doing synchronized swimming. We need to catch America.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
It's a smart move. But the thing
plus
is, too, is
America
the
loves to have at least somebody to compete with. Right?
oh yeah,
Everybody loves to go, oh, America, China, America, China. And we're like, oh, are we going to win? We love that. We thrive on the competition.
and every year I feel so bad because China always has like this hope in their eye that they're gonna out medal America, and every year,
They don't.
like they lose by like 40 medals, and they're like, damn it, distant second again. You're like, what are you gonna do? You
Well, I
know?
will say every once in a while they do beat us in gold. It hasn't happened for the last two Olympics, but like 2008, I think they beat us in gold, but we smashed them in silver and bronze, which is why we count total medals.
That also happened to be the Beijing Olympics.
Got me there. Okay, I didn't think about that. Yeah, okay, never mind. We gotta adjust expectations on that one.
Statistically, too, the host country always wins more medals than they averagely do. So, I mean, not saying that's what happens, but I'm just saying next is in LA, and we'll see what happens, which is gonna be crazy.
Nah. I for a millisecond I went, ooh, it'd be cool to go see the Olympics in person. And then I thought tickets would be like $500. I'm all right.
I am 100% going. There is going to be the World Cup is going to be in America. It's going to be in Seattle, and
Oh
then the
wow.
Olympics are going to be we're going to have a good fucking like next couple years.
West Coast is gonna be
Uh,
popping.
well, yeah, a lot. Me and my buddy are making plans to go to see a World Cup game in Seattle. I don't know which one, but
Any.
we're gonna go see something. Yeah, any. Oh yeah, like I don't even watch soccer that much, but I'm like, dude, live World Cup soccer. Yeah, I can do that.
Sure.
So yeah, so that's already. I know it'll be fucking outrageous, but I'm like, dude, when am I ever gonna see that again? And same thing with the Olympics. I'm gonna go to the Olympics. I don't know which one, what I'm gonna see, but something.
Yeah.
I know it's happening. uh, yeah, and so it's but you know what else is funny though is that all these people they come and train in America.
Because we have the
Like,
best trainers and the best
yeah, that's the part too that boggles my mind. Like you'll see these guys like these swimmers, and they're like the you know the swimmers that are competing like American swimmers, like this top swimmer, and it'll be like someone from France, University of Michigan. Like, wait a minute now. What the fuck? Hey now. And like that kid that broke a bunch of records this year is like it looks like he's like the next Michael Phelps. You know why he's the next Michael Phelps? He fucking trained with Michael Phelps.
That'll
Michael
do it.
Phelps,
That'll do
yeah.
it.
Michael Phelps saw him swimming and he was like, "Hey, you want to come to America and train with us?" And he's like, "Okay." And yeah, he goes like University of Baltimore or something, in whatever their Baltimore school is. And so he trains over there with Michael Phelps' trainer and him. It's like, okay. I was like, did you really win?
That is one of the best benefits America also has is we are the world's brain drain. Anybody who's extremely smart, intelligent, wanting to progress the design of the world eventually comes to America to either learn, study, or work. Same thing with athletes. If you're the best of the best in the world, eventually you come to America to either work, study, or train. Like it's what you do. It's because we have the best infrastructure for all that type of stuff, and that's what our immigration policy is really centered around: is being like, do you have benefit?
We'll take you.
Yeah,
Look, you look smart. Yeah, are all the first time America won like what the math Olympics in like 20 years.
But they were all Chinese.
Yeah, a bunch of Chinese immigrants. Like, hey, those are our mathletes now, motherfucker. USA, baby.
Well, that's the best thing. Is America is every culture, creed, or religion. We go, are you American? And if you go, yes, I am. We go, fuck yeah, you are. Regardless.
I didn't realize how much. Like, I know we have racism here, but I didn't realize how racist other countries were. Like in in France, those guys, they really don't consider them part of their people. Was us like people will say hard R's to people, but like they're still an American. You know what I mean? They're like with the exception of like Mexicans trying to send them back to Mexico, but like the people here, they're not trying to send them back to Africa. They're just like, we don't like you, but you are an American, but I hate you. But also though, if it's like someone bombed like a school, even the most racist person would be like, motherfuckers. Like, can you imagine if like China bombed like an all black school? I guarantee you, the most racist fucking Southern dude would be like, those cocksuckers bombed America.
Yeah, 100%. But we love to fight each other. And the second somebody goes, oh, I'll fight them too, we go, fuck you. That's our fight. No, we're all turn, beat the shit out of you, go, you're on the ground, and then look at each other and go, hey, fuck you. Once again, that's all we
Fuck
do.
everybody. Yeah, we're very angry people.
We're good at it. We're angry, and then we'll help you up. We'll be like, yeah, good fight. Let's
good
try
fight,
again.
Yeah, that's our future. It's good. Hopefully, which is actually a very smart way to do it because that's the way the Romans did it too, right? That's why the Romans lasted so long. They said, "I don't care what your religion is, I don't care what you are. You're a Roman citizen now, or you're a Roman."
Well, they did it differently. They had like 3 citizen tiers, which is one of the reasons why they fell, is because they got really strict on those citizen tiers and like rights and privileges. Yeah, and then eventually they fell.
On the Roman citizen thing. That one is not a Roman citizen.
The Mongolian Empire did the same thing, where they went, I don't care what religion you are, I don't care who you fall under, you fall under the Great Khan, and that's the end of it. And if you say no, you're dead. And then everyone went, oh, all right, it's working.
I don't want to be dead.
What if not dead? Well, then you fall under the Great Khan and you're Mongolian. Shit. All right, here we go.
Okay, I didn't know I was Mongolian. Crazy.
Good to know. It was my mistake. Oopsie daisy.
Yeah, in those situations, a lot of those guys, they were actually really good to like their people that like.
I just remembered. Have you heard about? We were talking about Florida and DeSantis, right? So Florida instituted a thing that religious chaplains can go into schools to provide help and like education benefits, stand in as subs, all that stuff, right? So basically, if you're a chaplain, you can go in as a teacher. Well, I agree, fully trash. They fully put a pause on it right now because the Church of Satan was like, oh, we're so excited to go send our Satanists to your schools to go help them learn about how body autonomy is a right, to go learn about how respecting nature is important. And DeSantis is like, Satanism isn't a religion. And then they went, we're classified as a religion. We're religion. So you have to let us in. And he went, what? No, only Christians. And you're like, that is illegal.
Nice.
So it's a fucking amazing. Just had to bring it back to DeSantis for a second in Florida, but
these guys, like in Texas, you see what's happening right now is they're pausing. Also, is putting Bibles in schools and making them read from them. Because so many teachers said I won't do it.
Good. We have a separation of government and church for a reason.
Yeah. They were trying to form it as it's historical text because in their mind it's real. And so historical text, and that this is part of our curriculum now. And a lot of teachers said bullshit. Now the teachers union is suing them, and the teachers like, I'm not going to do it. I'll leave. And now they're scared. They're like, well, what if we lose all our teachers? And they're like, yeah, fucks. Teaching is a job, right? And you can't just have whoever do it.
Well, especially since teachers can get paid more working at Costco as like a stalker. Like, would you rather deal with 30 screaming kids all day, every day? 30 if you have a small classroom? Or would you rather go, make $24 an hour at Costco?
Well, the other thing, the thing is too, is people forget these teachers, like they go through a lot of training to become teachers. Like, so it's not just something like if you ever try to,
you have to get like a master's in education, right? Something like that.
Yeah, that's what my sister's doing right now. Like, if you ever try to teach somebody something, you realize teaching is a skill in itself. It's not like just because I know something doesn't mean I can show you how to do it. It's hard. And so like my sister, for example, one of her good friends is very, very conservative, and so she decided to take her school or kids out of school because it was big liberal whatever.
As you have the right to, sure.
She does. For 2 years though, she had her kids out of school during COVID time. She was teaching them at home, and she kept telling her this is a bad idea. My sister is a teacher though now, and her one of her roommates, actually one of her best friends, is also a child psychiatrist, and they went and talked to the kids, and my sister was like kind of like testing them without telling her she was testing them, and then the other girl was talking to them, and they agreed that like they are like maybe 3 or 4 years behind right now. You not only are you have you kept them back, you've done more damage to
You've
your children.
harmed them.
Yes, like she's like, and she went and told her that she's like, you need to get them in an actual education. You are not fit to be the teacher. And she had to they had to have a hard conversation with her. It's like you're gonna stunt your kids. Once they get into high school too, it's gonna be so much harder for them to catch up because they're gonna be able to make friends. They're gonna be able to play sports because they're gonna be in extra classes to do these things. They're gonna feel stupid, and like they're gonna lower their self esteem. And she finally relented, but then put them in like an all Catholic school, private
Of
one, whatever.
of course.
Yeah, which is like, all right, that's so much better. But I mean, I guess it's better than her teaching them. But these guys, they don't see the value in teachers or anybody. They don't see the value in education. They're like, well, I could do that. Like, no, you couldn't. No, you fucking couldn't. That's why people train to do it. That's why you're stupid.
Exactly. No, I mean, teaching, the ability to impart knowledge onto others is a difficult thing to learn how to learn, right? Like, so many people feel like learning is harmful for them because it's changing how their brain thinks. It's changing how they see the world or the universe around them. Just learning the names of colors lets you see more colors. So, and then losing education, especially young, while you're, in the developmental age, where your brain is as spongy as it physically can be, and you can learn as many things as possible, as quickly as possible. If you miss those building blocks, you're shit. You're shit out of luck. I stumbled there. With dyslexia, learning how to read, I didn't learn how to like read until I was like 13, maybe 14, when I had to read Ender's Game. And thank God I developed a appetite for learning and reading. But until then, I was absolutely falling behind in everything just because I
Yeah.
couldn't understand how everything was working together. Yeah.
It's snowballs. You fall behind in one subject, and then the next, and the next, and you feel so far behind. It's like, how do you catch up? And especially if you're in a society where everybody's at the same level and you're not there, it's got to be so hard.
No,
You know,
impossible. Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, these guys, and that's what's going to happen in Texas if they don't fuck around, or they keep fucking around
Well,
here.
Project 2025 and Trump want to completely defund the Department of Education and make it only states that make your choice of education and how education is ran. That's
Yeah,
wild. Like, we are
people
so
want.
far past relying on like field work to determining our school schedule, which is one of the reasons why the Department of Education came into play, that to go backwards to completely gut the Department of Education and say it's up to the states would be throwing us back 50, 60 years of education. And then it would
Yeah,
stunt our forward growth pretty much forever until it gets put back into place or something equivalent.
yeah, it is. I think people are forgetting the reason these things were built. Department of Education, why it was necessary, why we have these health codes, and they want to break up so much.
Ugh.
Like, oh, why we have child labor laws? We're like, well, why can't my 13-year-old run a fucking? It's like because someone will take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason we have to have minimum wages. Minimum wage should be going up. You forget that people were like, what's happening now? But I think it is starting to affect people. Like even the most stubborn, staunch Republicans are starting to ask the questions like, how are you going to help us? Because we're also fucking dying. Like I can't. Like I keep giving you money and you keep promising me things, but nothing's happening. And their Republican platform right now is all making fun of people and cool nicknames.
As horrible as it is, I think the Republicans lost because they won. What I mean by that is they lost their major bargaining chip, which was abortion. They
Oh
lost
yeah,
the hard single vote voter who was red no matter who because they're anti-abortion. They lost that because now it's up to the states, and now
yeah,
each state is one by one deciding. Like Arizona is having their proclamation on whether or not they should codify abortion in the state constitution. And it's looking like it's going to pass. It's looking like it's going to be encoded just like Oregon's is, so that women will have the right to an abortion. And I think it's going to continue dominoing until hopefully it hits every state again, and then it'll be
yeah.
federally regulated. But we'll see. We'll
100%.
see.
That was their ghost. That was their big enemy around the corner. They needed to ramp up voters, gun control and women's rights, abortion rights. Those are things they built their base on, and now they're like, well, we won. Like, all right, well, what are we voting for next? So like, ooh, that's all we had, really.
We won. Sweet. What are you going to do to help us now? Help you? What do you mean help you? Yeah, well, we won against the, not killing any babies. So now, am I going to get more money? Do I have to work longer or less? Or am I going to get more
You're not a
vacation time?
corporation.
My God.
What are
The
you doing?
craziest thing.
Yeah, I know. But it's good. I mean, these guys are finally starting to feel the squeeze, like Subway right now. They felt the squeeze a lot, and they started, like McDonald's too. They started lowering their prices, and still they're not seeing any return.
Because
And
they
they're like,
lost the trust of the people.
yeah, it's like, you don't understand. It's not about your price. Like, it was about your prices, but it's also not about your prices. We also fucking hate you. It's like, dude, I hate your guts. Starbucks is the same way. They just got a new CEO. It's like, I don't give a fuck about him. Fuck you.
I used to love going to Starbucks for my coffees. I don't think I've gone to Starbucks for like 4 years now.
Yeah,
and I don't need
anymore.
it. Like, I'll just go to the local coffee shops all around. They're better and cheaper.
Yeah, if I want something, I will buy local, and a lot of it was for a while was out of fucking spite. I'm like, oh, you want to break up unions, bitch? I'll go somewhere else. I'm gonna fuck them,
bitch. Just
fuck
start
you.
pushing Starbucks over. What?
Fucking
Fucking up the union.
I know. Yeah, it's funny to me because I understand unions can be harmful, but if anybody's fighting against unions, it's like, why do you not want the employees to organize? Like, if you're doing everything correctly, it should be okay. What's the point of anti-union? Tampering. I get it. Unions, just anything can be bad, but I hate the anti-union side of it. Because like that's why they're there though, is to keep you so you don't fuck people over, and then you fuck people over, and there's no one to defend them.
Well, unions, like any organized organization, can become corrupt. However, an union becoming corrupt is significantly less common or likely than a single company becoming corrupt.
100%. But if you have, right now the corporations have no competition, right? They just do whatever they want. They're free reign. If you have a union over here, even if that union does become corrupt, their corruption has to be taking stuff from the corporation and stuff, right? So you have a chance to vote those guys out, though. There's more pieces to move. And absolutely, I agree. Unions can be corrupt. Anything can be corrupt. But also having them in place is overall generally good for the worker.
Yeah, in a case-by-case basis, almost every time, for sure.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, is that I hate these huge unions. I hate huge anything. The competition is good. Like they're like Kroger and Albertsons, when they're trying to get, they basically came out and said, they're like, well, if you don't let us merge, we're gonna keep prices high. But if you let us merge, we could lower prices.
But they won't. They won't lower prices. They'll raise prices because there's less competition.
That's what Lena Khan came back and said. It's like, well, here's an idea how we can make sure you keep your word is by forcing you to not do this and breaking up monopolies, because the more competition you have, the better your prices have to be.
Yeah.
And so we don't need to trust you. We don't take your word on it. We'll just do that and make you do it.
I'll go to Winco for my produce. I'll go to Wheeler Dealer for like any of the odds and ends I need. I pretty much never go to Safeway anymore just because they're too expensive now. And that's the exact thing that competition is supposed to design to do. Your people are supposed to have a plethora of options, and then they pick from whatever is best for them at the time.
Well, not just that, too.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. They've taken away the mom and pop shops, like the regulars. It's pretty much impossible to own a grocery store now. You can't. You need to be part of a corporation, which that wasn't always true. In 70s and 80s, lots of people own their own grocery stores, and it's almost impossible to be that way now because you just don't make enough money because these guys will run you out of business and then jack up their prices. So in that way, we're just doing so harmful because now we, as Americans, we only see grocery stores as a corporation. We need to go to the Safeway. We need to go to the Walmart.
Yeah.
We don't need to go to Aunt May's fucking little grocery shop over here. Which is a shame because we need those guys. We need them to take care of us when these guys try to create food deserts. They can be the backing for that, be that part. But also, it's like to keep these other guys in check.
Well, also with the capability of dynamic pricing to be like, today is going to be 95 degrees. Let's increase the price of water by $1 a bottle.
I hate them for
That
that.
is evil. That's
100%.
a basic human right, not right, but it's a basic human need who if they don't have it, they can and will die. So being able to price gouge people based on second by second interaction, that's that's a quantifiable um, harm to the individual and to society as a whole.
Well, I also hope they do some sort of legislation um, to keep out these big investors into like. So I don't know exactly how they would form it, but also it's like how Uber came in, right, and said, "Hey, Uber is it's cheaper." Like Uber, when Uber Eats first was a thing, they were so cheap. They were cheaper than buying it in the restaurant for a long period of time because they're like, "Hey, hey, what are you charging? No, we'll pay that, and then we'll charge them less." And they did is basically get rid of every competition. It got rid of people who were like, "Hey, we don't need our own drivers anymore because it's more expensive. We'll let them do it." And Uber said, "Yeah, man, why not?" And they're like, "How are you doing this, Uber? How are you charging cheaper than what we can even do? You're losing money. You got to lose money." Like, don't worry about it. And
And
then
now that there's
they
no competition, it's like $15, $20 to go like 3 blocks. It's super
yep.
expensive now.
Yep, Uber said we won't charge you anything. Now they're like, we want 50 fucking percent, and the shops are like, well, we don't have delivery drivers anymore, and we don't have the money to implement them. And they're like, yeah, we know. What are you gonna do? Give us your money?
Teehee. A teehee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I wish they implement some because that's not just Uber doing that. Everybody, Amazon does that. Fucking
Well,
every company
it's
everywhere.
business 101. You maximize the market until you subvert any competitors you have, and then once you don't have any competitors, you mark up your prices until you hit the inflexible unit, and then you get maximized profit for maximized unit of delivery. It's supply and demand. You're
Well,
just
that's
reducing the supply. Yeah.
well, obviously it's capitalism 101. It is, but what I'm saying is, I hope they put some sort of protection in there because what's happening is now we're seeing these um these investors. They're invading every aspect of our life. From before it was like, oh, we're investing in certain things in steel and oil. Okay, that doesn't care. I don't care about that. But now they're like, what about housing? What about taxis? What about food? How can we invest in those things and fuck you over too? And we're like, whoa, wait a minute now. It's like I thought you guys were dealing with like, oh no, we want everything. We want every fucking cent you have. And so now they're doing it with t-shirts, with toys, anything they get their hands on, and they basically conglomerate it down to 4 or 5
Well,
companies.
Nestle has a shit ton of lobbyists right now in the U.S. government trying to make it so that water can be a privatized right, so that there can be a privatized ownership of water basins, watersheds, underground reservoirs, any and all forms of water collection can be and should be privatized. And Nestle did that in South America, and now people like have armed guards around like specific water reservoir lakes just so people can't get water. Like that's the next step, and that's what they're going to continue trying to do and probably succeed long term, which
Well,
is
I mean,
sad.
like I said,
But
hopefully, it looks like our next, hopefully, uh, when Kamala Harris and Waltz win, it looks like they have a lot of people that are fighting against a lot of these things, though, which is good.
very
Because
good.
even a lot of the Republicans are coming out. Like you see the Arizona Republican, he's like, "This is not my party anymore." Republicans, he goes, his speech was basically like, "We used to have differences, which is fine, but not be unethical." Which I agree with. He's like, they have obviously some moral differences, some maybe how they want their spending differences are different, but they used to not be unethical, and that's what his thing is. So he um, endorses Kamala Harris now, which is a really crazy case
I
because
did see the Republicans for Harris thing growing.
yeah, a lot of them, yeah. And I mean, I
And
get it. I get
I
it.
truly believe that is the center Republican. That is the people who go, I like my guns, I like government getting out of my business. That's who's voting for Kamala Harris. That's who I
Yeah,
think it is.
yeah. And I think that's good. I think because I think everybody's. I think what happened was that we had staunchy politicians so long. Trump came in and was a bully, and everyone's like, "Look, this is a real guy. These politicians are so fake." And then It's like the whole TikTok thing, right? People wanted like they have all these curated videos, and the curated videos didn't do well. The videos that are doing well are people doing stupid shit. But
Yep.
like you can tell it's a real person, and then they're like, these celebrities are like, why aren't our videos doing well? Why are we? It's like, well, because you're not real. There's no authenticity. And Trump, as much as he is an asshole, he was authentically an asshole.
Yeah.
He's calling people ugly. He's calling people fucking, stupid. And it's like everyone else trying to be polite. It's like, well, Donald, you shouldn't say it. He's like, you're fucking ugly. Shut up. It's like just being
And
very.
everyone, oh, you can do that? I didn't know you
Yeah,
could do
like,
that. Oh my God, this guy's
fucking
awesome. And then he
exactly.
went around, to our allies and went, Germany, you're ugly. You're stupid. And everyone went, oh no, don't do that.
Yeah. And then, he did that for the longest time. And now we're like, I think right now it feels like Kamala Harris and Waltz. It's like, I think he dragged Biden into that fight with him in this fucking little kid arguing game.
You're stupid.
Weird.
Shut up.
They're both 80s, but
Boomers.
now we have this, this ticket where it seems like they're like adult politicians were like, hey, that was fun for a decade, right? He said real shit. Let's get over that though. Can we get back to real, like, actual people, politicians running politics? And they're like, okay, yeah.
Can we talk about policy and cause and effect and, go through our plans? Even though Kamala Harris really hasn't stated a lot of her design policies, like the things that she actively wants to accomplish, at least not that I've seen through TikTok or Facebook or any of the other news sources.
The 25,000 one is one of her big things to get home prices in.
Right.
Is one of the big ones because that is like a legit like economic collapse type thing if we don't get this fucking
housing crisis figured out.
Yeah, figured out. Yeah, it's got to be figured out really fast. Also setting certain caps on rentals and stuff like that. So breaking up that what's it called that fucking basically cabal of fucking apartment listings that they have.
The cartels that they're running around with, AI cartels.
Yeah, is going after them. And then I can't remember. She had a few. I do like her ideas. Her plans are all solid.
I know Waltz wants to make it so that every child in America has access to at least a free breakfast in their school system.
Yeah.
That's something I heard. I was like, that's great. I'd rather my money go to that than anything else.
It pisses me off that that's something we have to fight for.
Food? I'm like, what are you, socialist?
I know. Have you seen there's a famous TikTok going around? The guy's like, who's going to pay for it? He's like, me. I'll pay for it.
I'll pay for all of them.
It's like my taxes are fund war crimes right now. How about we just? I will pay if you got to take more taxes for me to get kids fucking free lunch. Then yeah, and that's exactly. It's the thing is like what do you think taxes do? Who pays for shit? Us. We pay for it. Hey, do you think kids should be able to eat so they can concentrate on school and not feel left out? No. Me too.
They're just sitting there. No, they should be hungry and they should like it.
Why? Because I thought you loved kids. You were there for the children. No, not those children? Okay, that's fair. Or not, whatever. I just think kids should be able to eat and not have... My sister's a school teacher. She said the same. She's like, that is one of the biggest things. Kids are hungry.
Yeah.
Like, they can't concentrate when they're hungry. If they're not well fed, and they will, when there's a vast difference when they are fed and when they're not to doing things that need to be done.
Yeah, it's nutrition. Like... Yeah. Especially as a child, you're growing, you need the most nutrition.
Yeah, it's like real basic too.
Yeah. Give them an apple, give them some carbs, give them some protein, maybe a salad. You're solid. Like
yeah, they'll do good. I promise you, they'll be fine, upstanding citizens.
I don't even care if it's just like you slam them full of beans and rice. Like it won't be the best thing, but as long as they get food, they get some type of sustenance and calories in their body. There's people that go to school who are like abused or from low income housing that just don't eat and they're like slowly starving.
The thing is too is these programs like this, giving kids free school lunches, giving them free sports or free whatever, things they can do outside of their home. They pay dividends. Even if you're such an asshole, you don't care about children. It's like, well, those guys are no longer like. You want to create criminals, you want to create drug addicts, those people you say you hate. That's how you do it. You tell them, hey, the world hates you. I know you're a little kid, but you don't get breakfast, bitch. But no, but if you tell them, hey, the world actually loves you. Here's free food. Your teacher's gonna spend time to help you. Here, you have a coach now. These are things people. There are adults that care about you, even if at home they don't. Hey, all of a sudden that's a good kid now.
That's a huge thing for people. That's humongous. I mean, I remember when I was in school, I had a lunch debt, and as I was moving up to Albany from Klamath Falls, they weren't going to transfer any of my high school credits because I had like $5 of lunch debt, and they were just going to force me to redo my freshman year if I didn't give them $5. And I'm like, so it was never about education. It was never about teaching. It was just about the money here. So I had to go get cans, turning cans to get money, and then I paid off my school debt. But still, like, people need the ability, just like plants, you need nutrients, water, and air to grow, like, and sunlight. So you need the basic building blocks, and if you don't have it, you can become stunted. And we don't want a stunted population.
No, and it's not even just that. It's I think we've talked about it before. At the end of the day, it's like, what is it? Just mean. What is nice?
What's a base good that you can do? Yeah.
Yeah, like what can you do to help everybody? Hey, there's a kid that's hungry. Okay, let's figure out how to get him some food. That should be your first fucking thought. Hey, there's someone fell to the ground. How can we let's pick them up real quick and then we'll figure out the rest of it.
Yeah.
You know, how not
Yeah.
how did you fall? What were you doing? What were you wearing? It's like, hey, that person's on the ground.
Or
Let's
like
get him off the
nowadays,
ground.
someone falls on the ground and then they get up and then you kick them back on the ground. You're like, no, you were on the ground. You stay on the ground. Like,
Jesus Christ, why?
that's what's
What did I do?
happening. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's frustrating. And so, but I think that you can see it shifting though. Again, Americans are. I think we got complacent in how good things were going, and then we're like, well, we need it bad because whatever the fuck happened. The millennial generation, we're like, whoa, we went to this fucking early 20s just getting our asses whooped, and now we're all heading towards the 30s, and like, okay, that was harsh, right? Woo! Let's
So many millennials' first memory is like 9/11, and then it just hasn't really gotten better since then. And we're kind of looking around like, we're the best nation on the planet. Really? Oh,
yeah.
really?
But you remember though, I told you this like a couple years ago. I genuinely think millennials now we're going to start getting into these roles of leadership, politicians and business leaders and all the people that make decisions. And we're like, hey, that sucked, guys. Team meeting, that sucked.
Let's run it back. Let's not do
Yeah,
that again.
let's be a lot more supportive of our other generation. Let's not make it suck so much. You guys be dumb. You're fine. It's okay.
In the like 80-year block of generations, we are the silent generation block. You know what I mean?
What do you mean? As far as
Like World War One, like the silent generations, the people who like developed America to be as prosperous as it was, and then we had the baby boomers to give the consumerism to. We are the silent generation of our block.
Our duty is to prepare the next generation, not to live in it.
Yeah.
Which sucks. But it's also good. It's like, all right, well, that's our. I mean, because like I said, you can see it now. All the programs that are being funded to do things to train people to be better. And it's like, all right, let's start building the backbone of America again. I guess brick by fucking brick.
I'm fine with it.
You know,
you gotta build it.
Like, yeah, and you know, and that'll be part of the responsibility of this generation. When we get into our 60s, we'll probably start seeing those dividends again. We're like, oh, look at everything happening. I'm pretty fucking old now.
But then people will be like, the backbone of our generation is gay. Like, okay, good. They got great fashion sense.
Cool, yeah, whatever. It's almost like 0.5% too. Like those guys, that's all of them.
Oh no.
Whatever. Why don't you just like fucking let them do their sexual thing? Whatever, man. It consensually fuck who you want to fuck.
Yeah.
Don't fuck.
As long as everybody's of age and willing, that's fine.
Having a good time, try it out. You don't like it, you're like, well, I don't like that. Cool. Good for you, man.
Neat.
If you liked it, then hey, you just found your new thing.
If you didn't like it, cool. Don't do it again. That's your choice.
I've never like. This may be why I don't understand or I understand but don't understand like gay people, because I've never like even had like a hint of like gayness. You know what I mean? Like, or they say like people are like gay. I'm like, I've never like felt a thing. You know what I mean? I'm like, I guess that means I'm straight. Like,
you've never had like a Peter tingle.
Yeah, nothing over like over like I've had good conversations with dudes before, be like friendly, but never been like a because you know what I mean. Which I'm like, but then like you said, I guess the best explanation for that, though, my point was that my friend that was gay was basically saying it's like that's exactly how it is, except I
I
have
don't like
nothing for
women.
women.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing there. It's like because you know you see them and you get excited with their big ass, all this everything. Me, nothing. But I see a guy's ass and I'm like, oh yeah, that's fair. It's like, well, that's all you had to say. I have more women for me, I guess. And you go fuck all the dudes, all the gay ones.
And
The
I
straight ones,
love when they're like, when did you choose to be gay? And you're like, when did you choose to be straight? Probably the
yeah,
same day. Like,
just kind of happened, you know. Yeah, people are weird. Like I don't get like I would honestly prefer to be bisexual. That'd be best. Like you get the best of both worlds. You're the everything's open to you.
you say that, but every bisexual person I know is just kind of like, yeah, but then you get rejected from both sides and it's shitty. And I'm like, all
Damn,
right.
hurtful on both. At least I get to say, hey, if I was only gay,
If
I'd
only.
be crawling in men, dude. Now, bisexual, I would know they don't want me either. Like, God
Fuck.
damn it.
Damn. Shit.
Okay, that's fair. I guess I don't know. Whatever. People are stupid. Let people be. Like I still have people that have problems with like they them. So I'm like, what? How is it that hard, man? Just try.
Just
Most
do
people don't.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, hey, my name is now this. I'm like, okay, I'll probably mess up a couple times, but I'll get there.
Like I
Say then.
have quite a few friends who are non-binary, and every once in a while, like they'll be very like either masculine presenting or female presenting, and I'm like, oh her or oh him, and they're like, they, and I'm like, you're right, sorry, my bad,
My bad.
and I'm like, but if you're in a dress and got long hair and you're all glammed up, and I'm like, you look like a lady today. And
Yeah.
then, or they've fully transitioned, and I'm like, oh yeah, she, and they're like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, me. It's
You're
just how
welcome.
the people present themselves
Yeah,
to the
that is the
world.
hard part too. Is that how they are presented in general? Like Mads, I kept doing that to them, where I
Yeah.
was like over and over again. And then we have a coworker of mine. Their name is Michelle. They were originally a man that like does that, but the same thing is like they will wear like full dresses and like do full makeup some days, and it's easier to be like, okay, they or she, you know, what they want the dress to do is they she. But then like when they dress, like sometimes they'll dress in like a full like suit when they're doing certain things. I'm like, okay, this is much more difficult. I'm gonna forget a lot. I'm like, God damn you. Well, today is a suit day.
Yeah. I mean, English has a lot of masculine and feminine like words, but overall, our language is very gender neutral. So it works itself pretty well to just being like uh
Yeah.
accepting of the non-binaries or whatever. But
Well, and that's what I usually like. Like Michelle, when I first met them, I had done this one thing. I was like, I call both men and women bro and dude a lot. I was like, and they're like, anything like that, I don't care about. I'm like, okay, cool. So
like
that's a
got it.
lot of it. Yeah, I call women bro. Really, bro? And they're
Bro,
like, okay,
dude, there it's a pretty gender neutral
yeah,
term.
yeah. I'm like, it's not masculine. There's not even a female dude. Do that? It's not a thing.
Which dude that adds a whole syllable to it, which means you're not gonna use it.
I'm
Right?
not. I'm lazy. That's a lot of
Yeah.
work. Bro, I'm gonna sis. I'm not gonna
Bro.
call you sis.
Ew. Ew. Imagine
Yeah,
calling your coworker, hey sis. Yeah, hard
it
pass.
feels weird, right?
Now
It's
I
nothing to do
know
with masculine or feminine.
now I know a lot of cultures will do auntie and stuff like that, but still that's its own like demographic.
That is. That's like an older like woman. Like so, I wouldn't call like yeah the Michelle person is like my age. So I wouldn't call them auntie.
Yeah.
You know. But you're right. Auntie and uncle calling people older people in your generation. Yeah. Calling like black people usually use unc. I use uncle. You know if
Mm-hmm.
they're an older person. That's a weird one. Do you, white? I found Native Americans and Native Hawaiians. We have a lot of overlap in our
Native Hawaiians
linguistically.
absolutely do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a lot of sayings. Like my buddy, like a lot of the shit he grew up like work living in Hawaii. Like a lot of the same shit happened on like the reservation to me, and a lot of the sayings we have are the same, which I find weird because most people, like a lot of people, don't have them in their culture. Then also our religious beliefs, like they have clans, like we have clans, like Turtle Mountain. Like we're a survivor of like a bunch of clans. How like they had like the whatever the uh, birds and bear clans and shit like that. The turtle clan is the one that survived, so we're the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa. And then the same thing that happened to them is they have a bunch of bands or like not bands, but they have basically like their own areas. And so, like for my birthday, he gave me a whalebone necklace that had a turtle on it, and he was explaining that to me. And I was like, that is very interesting. That is exactly the way ours work, but like across the ocean and over here in North Dakota.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah,
Like that's really cool.
yeah. It's very, very interesting stuff. So I think there's a lot of similarities. But okay, was there anything we needed to talk about in particular today, as far as stuff goes?
I don't know, man. I don't know about
uh,
particularly. We've been going for like almost 2 hours now, actually.
oh, long run.
We've been having a good chat. I've been enjoying it.
Good chat. Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
we're just running through the wickets today. Anything you want to specifically talk about?
Well, if we still want to try to do a YouTube slash what's it called type of thing, I'm still down for something like that. What are your thoughts? Are you still trying to do something?
I want to. I just really don't know what. Like, I know we've talked about the Apex, and I know we've talked about the stories and stuff like that. I think if we want to do it, we just have to pick one and just go. We're doing this one. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Whatever,
Yeah. So
whatever one we're doing, and just pick it and just go for it.
I would say the best thing we can do is pick something like we obviously like politics and able to talk about that for a while. And so that's something I think we could definitely do. Now that does come with its own downfalls and rises, but I think that's something we could definitely do and people would absolutely listen to. Especially, I like it because it would. I already enjoy reading like when they pass new bills and stuff. I enjoy reading through those to see what's actually happening in there.
Really, I hate
Yeah,
that. They write it so
I
dumb.
I fucking love it because I want to know like we have these things called the DFARs. And my boss couldn't figure out how to do something because they're very, very long. And I was like, I'll read through it. Like it was like when I like my first month in. That's part of why she likes me. Is like when there's something, I'll go through the DFARs and they're very dry. But and I agree, they're not fun to read. But what's fun about them is I get to know what's actually happening. Like, oh, you cocksuckers, you put this in here. Fucking don't you
Oh,
lie to
you
me.
sneaky bastards! I see what you're
Yeah,
doing.
you piece of shit. And so I would love to do a series on that. Where we actually go through and just like, and I could actually have a reason to go read through. I'm like, all right, I need to set aside 2 hours today to go read these documents and actually figure out what's happening over here, and then come back with the knowledge. I think that would be super fun.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
We could easily do one of those. I mean, there's so many things being passed left and right now
100%.
that
Yeah, and I think everybody, there's always this idea that there's too many of those things, whatever, we're
no such
mixing them around.
thing.
But I think we give our own unique perspective on it. But also, I do think I love cartoons and anime and that kind of nerd culture so much. I feel like there's something there too that we could talk about for a long time as well. I think the political things come a little easier for us. It seems like.
Political things
Um,
absolutely come easier. One, because it affects us, so
mhm.
we have some type of weight or stake involved. And two, it's so prevalent in our society right now. The political issues happening Ukraine, Taiwan, abroad, at home, like there's a lot to pick and choose from, and they all interact with each other. With anime and stuff like that, like love Avatar: The Last Airbender. Super excited about the new movie they got coming out next year. I'm gonna love that. So we could easily
They
talk
have a
about
new
stuff like
movie.
that. Yeah, 2025. They got an adult End Gang coming out. Let me Google it real quick.
Oh, you mean like fucking having like the fucking the team, but like when they're what?
Yeah, when they're in their like 20s or 30s.
How did I not hear about this?
Oh,
I
it's
know
been
they're
really
coming out with a new
popular.
Avatar. They're coming out with a new season of Avatar with the
Oh,
fucking
Aang the
the
Last
Earthbender.
Airbender is 2026 is when that movie's coming out. It's made by the Avatar Studios, by the original creators.
Ooh, it's gonna be adult Aang group.
Yep, going through
That's
their uh
When does the Earthbender one come out? Because that's coming out too, right?
copy. You're talking about the show, the
Yeah.
with Genji. That one's supposed to be coming out. I don't know exactly when that one's coming out. They don't have a release date for it, but they've talked about some of the characters. Movie delayed till 2026. Initially, the Avatar: The Last Airbender film was set to hit theaters October 10th, 2025. It has been moved till January 20th, 2026. So it's not a massive delay, but a little bit.
Dude, have you seen the theory that the reason Korra, or not Korra, what's her name?
Katara.
Katara. The reason she's so strong is because she was meant to be the Avatar.
I did see that. There's a there.
I
Yeah,
Yes, I fucking love that theory.
I like the theory better that Yue was supposed to be the next Avatar. For the Southern Water Tribe,
Who's Yue?
the one that gets turned into the moon.
Oh, her.
So her whole thing was that she was born missing part of her soul. So the thought process, or at least the fan theory, was she was supposed to be born with Rava, making up that other part of her soul, and that's why she was always so sickly and bonded with
That's
the moon
also
spirit.
cool. See,
Yeah.
that's also cool. I like that. I don't know the idea because something that's always bothered me about the kids is that if you were to put them in like a regular world, right, and you have an absolute prodigy basketball player at 13, they're not beating 30-year-olds still in the NBA. They're
No.
getting fucking smoked. And these guys are 13, 14-year-old, 12-year-olds beating the shit out of grown soldiers. And I hate that.
Sure.
And go and I like that. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be completely real. I love it, but the only way you can make sense of it is like, all right, the Avatar is not just a prodigy; he is the prodigy. He is a special person.
Which makes
That's why
sense.
he's there.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Uh, um, what's his name? Fucking the brother. Why am I blanking on his name?
Sokka.
Sokka was most of his was intelligence, and you can have an intelligent kid that can actually compete with people.
Oh
They're not
yeah.
going to be, not physically they can't do it, but intelligence. So I believe that one. But
I mean, you
having
have 13 to 14-year-olds who can beat chess grandmasters.
exactly, yeah. So him being a strategist is not that far off. But having two other benders that are also just fucking beasts, the 12 or 13-year-old and the 12-year-old, whatever,
Yeah,
with
Toph and
Toph and
Katara.
Katara, just always kind of bothered me. I'm like, how did you two get so fucking strong? But having Katara be that was supposed to be the Avatar, all right, now that makes a little more sense. She's not just special; she is super special. Then you still got Toph. I mean, but having one bender that's just that strong, that would be okay. But having two that's that,
Well, here's the
like,
thought process on that. Katara easily could have been that strong because she was the only waterbender born in the South Pole. Like, so all that, like, juju of the bending abilities might have just been put into her because she was the last one in that whole region. Like, I'm not 100% positive how all the bending stuff works, or whether or not if her mom and her dad were both very powerful benders or people and their powers combined, so she's super powerful. I don't know if it's like an epigenetics type of thing.
that's well, because Toph too. Also, I forgot about that. That she's blind and learned from their moles.
Blind, learned from the moles, so she wasn't very strong until she learned how to use the moles. And Katara wasn't taught by anybody; she was taught by the ocean.
That's fair-ish. It's just said the idea of having such powerful teenagers, so many of them.
Sure, I mean, it's also a show.
It also is a show.
You
It's a
gotta give a
show.
little bit of suspension of disbelief.
Hey.
Hey, no.
Just because throwing around fucking fireballs and ice balls doesn't mean it can't be realistic, all right? This is my fucking world.
And I live in it. No, I agree. No, it's Zuko coming in and being kind of like the least powerful of the benders really puts into perspective the power level of everybody else.
Yeah.
Because he was crown prince, like, and he's better than basically all the other firebenders, like, around him at all times, other than like Iroh and his sister and his dad, which is all one family unit, which then leads back to the genetics of how the fucking bending system works.
That's true. Yeah.
And in Katara, all the benders were more powerful than the average day benders we saw of Aang's day. Like, you just had workers doing lightning bending. And I'm like, well, that's fucking strong. Or is it just technique? Or is it just that people were allowed to learn lightning bending? I'm not sure. I'm not sure about how much is just you privatized education and now you have public education. So now your society is better. I don't know. And we're back to politics. We got it right back in there.
Well, the politics of Worlds is very intriguing itself. That could be something. So here's my idea too: is that like we could talk a certain shop on things on politics or cartoons or even sciencey stuff. We break into that a lot.
Hmm.
Um,
We're
the problem
both
is that
averagely intelligent, if not a little bit
yeah,
above.
I would say so. And like I said, we both have such unique perspectives of coming from where we come from. Everybody does, they have their own unique perspective. But yeah, but I would say we're both moderately intelligent people, able to at least, if I'm wrong, I'm like, oh, I didn't know I was wrong. you
I
know,
love when we disagree. When we
yeah,
have a sticking point and we're like bickering between the two of us, because we're both respectful, we bring up solid points, and then we hear what the other person is saying and either make adjustments to what they said or how they said it to like meet our own ideologies, or we go, you might be right.
yeah.
It's the best type of conversation.
Well, that's how it should be all the time. It's like, you know what, you got a solid point there. Touche.
Haha, I
Fucking
might
move
have to
on.
change my thoughts.
Yeah, didn't think about it that way, which is such a weird, powerful tool to have. Some people are so they get dug in. They're like, "Well, I've got to win." It's like it's not about winning. It's about
Well,
talking
it's
and
because
learning.
being wrong hurts. It's a pain response. You just have to
Yeah,
learn not to feel pain from being wrong.
it certainly hurts your ego a
It's
lot.
wisdom. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't have no ego anymore. I'm getting older. I'm like, meh.
We're both I'm almost in my 30s. I was about to say we're both in our 30s. Your ego takes a hit.
Yeah. Like I know I'm no longer cool. I don't care to be. It's fine.
I walk around with hip pain, and now when I go on hikes, I take a cane with me. My
Yeah.
ego's a little lower than it used to be when I was in
Yeah.
the
It,
Marines.
It's fine. Yeah, it's just when I used to be really in shape and stuff. Yeah, I know. Dude, I tell you, I am finally fully back. Like my back is no longer no pain.
You were telling me that last time.
I
Congratulations.
thank you. Yes, I played sand volleyball for the first time in like a year. Was able to complete games, and I played multiple games. Was able to play, which was exciting, and I was able to swing fully. It was actually very funny. The team I play with, I've been playing on their league team, and I've been playing like very tentatively for like the last 2 months, and I've never played with any of them before,
Yeah.
except one of the girls. And so I've been just setting and kind of like when I'm swinging, I'm like just doing these little chops. I don't know if you know about volleyball swings. Typically, one of the things you teach people early on is don't just swing with your arm. You need to when you come around to swing, you want to open up your
Your whole
chest.
chest. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you're swinging with your abs, with your core, with your legs. Everything is swinging. And so I've been swinging like that because I'm still kind of tentative on my back. And then last night we played and the first time, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna swing. And the very first set, the girl fucking set me. I fucking crushed that ball hard. The girl over there, like, she got a piece of it here and it spun her around. And I was, and like the people on the team were like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, she's like, "You don't swing like that?" I'm like, "I'm just getting back from injury, but that was felt good."
I that's awesome. You like release the cannon and everyone's like, "You can do that? Why haven't you been doing that? Where'd that come from?
Because I've been
What in the
injured.
world?"
I
That's
got this whole
awesome.
back today. Yeah,
Now,
so that felt good.
could you imagine sand volleyball in the Avatar world? When you have earthbenders and airbenders and all that bullshit?
That would be a fucking lot.
Waterbenders, I think, would have the hardest time.
Waterbenders would be a lot. Earthbenders would clean up.
Earthbenders and airbenders, it would be their game. Let's be honest, it'd be their game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeping the ball in bounds. Yeah. I don't know what kind of rules that'd be on that. 'Cause I
Man,
mean,
there'd
even
be
with like
spins and fucking turbos, and you would jump and use the ground to hit it for you, or use
yeah,
you to hit you to the ground or whatever. Yeah.
because the reason you do, if you've ever seen the different type of serves, like when you do, if you ever seen a top spin, they'll spin the ball like this and it spins this way, and then you hit it and you do like this, and so the ball spins and it dives. What you're doing is basically making
Turbulence.
the air. Yeah, you're taking the air off of it, and so it dives and it goes exactly where you want it to go. Now, if you're doing a flat serve, though, here is exactly the opposite. You're basically hitting it like this,
So it
and the ball
floats.
has all the air, and so it's going like this. With an airbender, that'd be fucking nuts. You hit it and it just goes,
Vroom, wherever
you
you
son of a
want.
bitch.
But there's airbenders
Yeah.
on both sides, and there's earthbenders moving people and stuff. That'd be great.
I don't even know how a firebender would adapt.
I took him out. I took him out. I said, you know
You're not
what?
doing
Firebenders and waterbenders would try, and then they'd get to the championships, and they'd be like, "It's an air earth game."
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
no longer
we're
what I.
out. You want a
Yeah,
barbecue? Sure. Yeah.
we'll watch. That would be fun. Yeah. Well, we should come up with some sort of a plan. Then, like I said, I'm down to do a politic. One just talk politics on something if that's easiest. Like I said, these conversations seem to be very easy on things like that, and I think that's what's most important, to have fun and be whatever. It's like, hey, this is, to have someone stumble upon and say, hey, these guys are cool. Like that's all I got.
I hope someone
I'll
stumbles
listen to
upon
them
us
too.
and be like, "Yeah, that was cool. I enjoyed listening to them."
That's
Let's do politics first. I think that's easiest for us. I think we have the most invested in that. Do you have a specific topic you'd like to talk about right now, or maybe something that we can get together maybe tomorrow or the day after, so that we have both have a minute or two to look into some stuff? Or do you want to do it like you're pro, I'm against, let's argue about it type of thing?
we could.
That could get
I
very
think
touchy depending on the topics.
exactly, and I think it doesn't play to our strengths because I know we tried that before and it felt really awkward. I think what it needs to feel is just natural, right? It
Yeah.
just is like, hey, we're just having a conversation about this. This is what it is, and this is how we're gonna have fun. And like be able to make the stupid jokes in the middle of it. We can't make those jokes when we're trying to force it.
Right.
And so I think, and that's what I was gonna say is like I think it'd be cool to do a political one, and then a more cartoony one, and then a more what's it called one. But I think if you do those things, you kind of box your creativity in, and you're like, all right, how do I want to mention Avatar right now, but I know I'm supposed to be talking about politics. I want to talk about this, but I got to talk about this. And I think those are interesting areas to go into. So I don't know. I think we could try it, and just say, hey, yeah, let's talk about something. I mean, we can pick whatever. Honestly, we can pick whatever's in the news. I mean, like the like Donald Trump was potentially calling Saudi, not Saudi Arabia, Israel to not hold the ceasefire because it'll be beneficial for Kamala Harris, which makes him a traitor.
Oh boy, that's
Yeah,
oh boy.
yeah,
Whoa.
yeah.
Actively
Right.
being like, "Hey, continue the genocide because if you stop now, Camilla Harris looks like a good person."
Yeah, yep. It'll help run the election if you stop bombing people. Yeah, he
I
is such
don't
an ego.
like that. I don't like that one bit.
I don't hate many people, but I hate him. He's such a fucking egomaniac. Can you imagine being put in that position to like, hey man, you're probably gonna lose and you're gonna go into obscurity, but these people will all live, and you're like,
No.
kill them. Yeah, I
Well,
don't
what
care.
what absolutely blows my mind, and I think, hold up, let me get my thoughts processed here. I think the reason he's becoming so rabid about Camilla Harris right now is because everything he's been doing for these last 4 years has been in preparation of reliving the 2020 debates, the him versus Biden, and now he can't get the him versus Biden again. He can't win against Biden and then be like, "See, I never could have lost in the first place. It was rigged from the beginning." He'll never get that opportunity or chance to be like, I could have won, I did win, because they've changed the player. They've changed player one, whoever it is. So now he's against Camilla Harris, and he's using the word for word exact same digs he used against Biden, but they don't hit because he's 80 and she's like 60. How old is she?
She's 60.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is too is if I think he's also scared to debate her because have you seen these new the kind of new Democrat style on debating these guys, which is just fucking so good to see. The Pete Buttigieg and who was it that was holding that? Someone was being the moderator. I can't remember his name. He was moderating for these Republicans, and like he would not let them go off on their rants. He just controlled the room with them, treated them like children. They're like, well, he's like, that's not what I asked. And they go on again. He's like, okay, I'm done. He's like, got it, and just moves on to the next person and does not. And they're like, but, like, okay, and then he starts asking the next question immediately. And Pete Buttigieg does something very similar to what's his name? What's the governor of California right now?
I will not know.
Okay, well, him. They do a very similar style where people they spray him with all these things like, well, what about this, and they go, okay, wait a minute, let's talk about the points then. And then when they actually have to talk about everything they just said, they're like, well, that was probably a lie. Okay, well, I didn't mean it that way. Okay, well, you shouldn't have said it then. And it makes them backtrack and they're like, well, I don't want to be called out on what I said. Like, oh, I'm gonna.
They're like, but I just want to yell my talking points and then move on without anyone having time to think or process what I just said. I want you to vote on feelings, not logic or intelligence. I want you to vote with your heart and the fear I've instilled in you, the seeds of doubt, anger, aggression, bigotry. A lot of the times it's built on you're better than them mentalities versus being like, okay, how are you better than them? List exactly what you're talking about. You can't because it's not right.
Yeah. Gavin Newsom, that's what I was thinking of.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. The governor of California.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'd like to get into is Oregon politics. I mean, we could find out more about Oregon.
I don't really know a lot about Oregon politics, so that'd be cool. I know about the Greater Idaho movement, and succeeding slowly. Like stupidity. They have 13
fucking
counties already locked in and ready to go.
Go. See what happens. These counties are fucking stupid. They don't realize that, you know, that giant city you hate, that fucking liberal cesspool, they pay for so much of your stuff because you can't afford it. Mm-hmm. The highway you like that goes through there, why should we upkeep that then if that's not our land anymore? Who's paying for your fucking highway?
Then Idaho would pay for it. And then Idaho would have to deal with all of them. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Idaho had to pay for it though. But do you think Idaho, like those parts of the state, like, when they don't understand these guys, they're like, oh, we do all this stuff. It's like, you realize you're a drain on our economy? Like you're out there with nothing and you're a drain. There are parts of Oregon that obviously grows our food and stuff like that. That's not a big part. They grow some stuff, but it's like, you're a drain. It's like, you want to go? Okay. Idaho, take them. Idaho, your economy already sucks. You think Boise's going to pay for all that shit now?
Boise would be mad. Like, yeah, I assume at the beginning they'd be very happy. They'd be like, yeah, we got more state. Greater Idaho's working. I think after about 5 years, they'd be like, ooh, they're costing us a decent amount of money. After about 15 or 20 years, they'd be like, they're a drain. Holy shit, this is a problem. This is an active issue. You have a giant spider behind you in the corner of your wall. In the corner of your wall. Other corner. Oh, it's a moth. It's flying around. Never mind. My bad. I thought it was slowly crawling up, and it looked like a giant quarter-sized spider flying. I was like, that is scary.
I thought you meant Omni. I was like, oh, God, not again.
No, I just saw it moving. Not again.
The thing is, though, is like, so imagine these guys join Greater Idaho, but Idaho has to make budget decisions. Who is the first to get their fucking feelings hurt? It ain't going to be the people that are already in Idaho. It's going to be the new Idahoans. It's like, hey, we can't afford to give you funding for schools or roads, whatever the fuck.
Well, that's the other thing. Once you're seen as a deserter, someone who is willing to leave who you came with, whoever you go to will look at you and go, oh, you're willing to leave whoever you come with. You're a deserter.
Yeah. They want it. They want basically more guns and to tell women what to do with their body. They're like, we'll leave a state for that. Like, fucking go. You bring nothing to the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, East Oregon is super pro-Trump. It's super Republican, which most small-town areas are, which I think is unfortunate because small-town people, at the core of their being, just want to take care of their self, their family, and their community around them. I believe that. And then you get the radical ideology of being like, well, if you have something more than me, that means you're hurting me somehow because I don't have as much as you do. And then if I do have as much as you do, and then you're trying to get as much as me, you're attacking me by trying to get as much as I have. Yeah. And that logic is such a trap long term because then eventually you just make everybody worse.
It is. It's horrible. And the thing is like, they will not be part if they do this kind of shit, right? And they're gonna miss on the fucking gravy train is that will be the boon in the cities like Seattle and Portland. That Build Back Better money, that's where it went. And it
always goes to the cities, yeah.
Yeah. And they're to their benefit, that's what's happening though, is they are distributing that money out to do things that are better for the city, but also for the state in general. That money is going to training in rural areas. A lot of that money goes to like, hey, how do we get internet to these rural areas? And these guys are like, fuck you. And you're like, dude, we're trying to help. They're like, women shouldn't get to vote. Like, what?
We're trying to get you fiber internet so you can be like the best in the world right now. What are you doing?
I just need guns. Guns, and I want to know I'm better than you. I'm a white man that's better than these dirty blacks. And you're like, whoa, man. You're like, right, well, okay, whatever, bro.
You're like, well, wrong, but good try, I guess.
Yeah. Take Idaho's poor. They don't even have certificates. They have no set asides. They have nothing. They're horrible. They have no like you know what a weird stat is that white people are worried about being displaced, right? And they're like, oh, we don't want this. And why do you have these set asides? And it should be illegal, like to give these things to certain people of color or whatever. It's like, but do you know that if you have a population that say is 80% white and 20% black, if 100% of the business owners are white, it is bad for the economy. It is overall better for the economy if 20% of your business owners are also black, because they tend to serve their communities better, and it's overall better for everyone. These really weird white people that don't want anybody but them to have things, forget that. It's like, hey, if we have a population of 50% women, 50% of these business owners and leaders should be women. You know, if 30% of our population is Mexican, 30% of our leaders and our business owners should be Mexican to serve their population better. And it's better for all of us.
I think it's dangerous to force equal representation all the time. However, I do think it's important that you do not build walls to stop equal representation from occurring, which is exactly what many people try to do.
So the thing is that I totally agree. You can't force those things. But what's been happening for years through fucking redlining,
decades,
yes,
since the beginning, yeah,
and yes, they the reason there are Chinatowns and there are the ghettos and there are reservations. What are those things built upon doing? They're built upon segregation, and there's a whole book called Hostile Architecture where basically it was literally on fucking white people. This wasn't like a secret. They were just like in New York and Boston and the East Coast. They were building. They're like, how do we make this as shitty as possible for black people?
Like we could build this. Actively doing that thought process.
That's not even a joke. Being like too forward. They're like, okay, so public transportation can't get over there. That's good. That's good. Obviously, so they'll be able to get to work. Beautiful. And so it's horrible. And so like now these programs like they are built to, like, obviously it's not like we don't need them to get there, but it's evening the odds a little bit for people that have been so put behind these walls. They're like, hey, we need you to get a little bit of leg up here. And it's not like they're saying the federal government, like, so do you know what 8A program is?
Like Alcohol's Anonymous?
No, that's AA, 8A. Like
8A. I couldn't 8A. Audio process what you said. Yeah, no, I don't know about
right.
it.
So the 8A program is basically for minority businesses, not even just minority business, but if you've been, you can self-certify as a disenfranchised business, basically. And you go in and you say, hey, I've been harmed in this way. And for most minority businesses, because we're so low in the threshold, like much less than our population would stay and much less than we should be, we statistically make the least amount of money, the less them. They say, hey, this is for your program to get you guys into more of it. So that program got sued by this company. They said, hey, like, we don't think that's fair. You shouldn't be able, because basically what could happen, so I'm Native American, I could get self-certified as disenfranchised because we meet a certain economic threshold. Some white company said, hey, we don't think you should be able to do that, because just about every minority could, Black, Latino, because we were under a certain economic threshold. And so some company came in, it was this white lady who basically sued and said, that's not fair. That's not how that should work. And so now they've changed the 8A program just this year, honestly. Do you know what she was suing for? You know what the percentage was that used that program?
No.
Of the total businesses? It was like 0.025. It was so small. It's minuscule.
Less than a quarter of a percent?
And she sued. And that was the argument, is like, you have everything. This program is literally the whole the thing that's holding out the minorities to get them into government contracting for their businesses, and you want that too. And yeah, they won, and so now they had to change how they use the 8A program. It's still kind of used that way, but basically anybody can use it. And you have to state how you've been basically
disenfranchised.
Exactly. Yeah. What happened to you? You know, did the business owner that owned your restaurant, did they, where you're renting? Did they erase your rent?
So
They kick
all
you
it
out?
really did was raise a barrier to entry and allowed people who already have enough to be able to go, oh, there's another program that I can use to be
Yeah,
able to take from in case I don't already have enough.
100%.
Great, perfect. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
it works.
yeah. And it's the same thing. Multnomah County tried to do set asides for minority businesses at 10%, which we have in Portland. Minority rate would be more like 40%, 50%. So they're like, hey, we want to work with 10% set asides, and they got sued again. That's another that was federal government got sued, and now county government got sued, and they said that's not fair. So now they can't do set asides. They can encourage their prime contractors to use those minority businesses, but they cannot make them.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, hold up. That's not
So
awesome. That's
yes,
bad.
when you do a set aside contract, set aside is essentially that. It's like, hey, this is basically Native American. So the BIA will do set aside contracts. Say these are for Native American people first. If you're Native American owned business, you have to be a certified Native American business, and you have a shot at these contracts. If you're in a hub zone is basically like that's for any color. And that's what one of the arguments for 8A was. If you're in a hub zone, basically you live in a poorer neighborhood, whether you black, white, brown, whatever. You can these are set aside for hub zone owned businesses. Um, and Oregon tried to do something like that in Multnomah County. They're like, hey, we want to do set asides like the federal government does for these specific things. And they got sued. And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, fine. Then they go to their prime contract. Whoever wins the contract says, hey, we can't make you do this, but we will give you extra points on your bid for using minority contractors because we think that's fair. Because historically they're not getting used. Because I think people don't understand how hard it is to break into things, right? So like if you have construction companies that have been around for a long time and they're all prime contractors, how do you get to be a prime contractor, right? Now
And
imagine
so much of
95.
contracting is, oh, I know he did a good job. You should use him. It's word of mouth, it's reputation, it's continuing to do your business for a long period of time, right?
Well, yeah, and yeah, exactly like that. But imagine that on a big scale. Like you're talking like $300 million contracts. Most of those companies do that. 95% of them are white owned. So they're like, how do you even how would you even break into that? How do you get in it as your minority? You need government help because the reason they are 95% of the white owned is because they, during the 40s and 30s and all these other times, they basically bogarted all the resources to do those things. Those companies have been around for a long time. And now they have a leg up.
Thank goodness.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah. So now it's it's a lot of things going on. So it's you know, those are things we can talk about. See, those are things.
No, I love that. I think we just had a fantastic chat. That was great. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, about
Um,
Oregon politics.
yeah, no, Oregon politics. I think using the money that we as taxpayers make and use and provide for the state should go to help increase the diversity and the capability of our peoples, right? The ability to have more than just one or two prime contractors or people who know how to do the contracting jobs or schools, kids, all that stuff.
Well, people are starting to use the diversity, equity, inclusion as like a bad thing. It's like, but how many times, even today, do we still hear the first black, the first Latino? You're like, wow, that's crazy. How often do we hear the first white? It says no, because everything is built around you. The whole world is yours. There's never a first white
Where's
guy. You
White
already did it.
History Month? It's every month, motherfucker. Like,
Yeah, you teach U.S. history is white history. That's why there's specific Black history and Native American histories.
and then
We gotta
boy,
get
do you
around
learn some fucking shit when you take those classes. I
very
took
difficult.
Native American history in college. Crazy what happened. Flowers on the petal moon. Oh, I fucking butchered that.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Killers of, thank you.
The
Thank you
flowers,
so much. My dyslexia absolutely just jumbled
yeah.
that title.
So,
Wild story, wild reality.
oh
Like
yeah.
all that stuff.
The thing is too is it happens. There's so many stories like that. I mean, not even just Native Americans, but also Black Americans, Latino Americans, Asian Americans, that they just take advantage of these people and just completely disregard for them, butcher them. I mean, like, have you seen the movie? You read the book?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, were they talking about like look what they did to Black Wall Street, like or
I was gonna bring up Central Park when we were talking about the Chinatown and all the other businesses, where
Yeah.
basically you had a governing body of black people who were becoming prosperous, were becoming rich and wealthy, were becoming slightly better than white people around them. So they bulldozed and massacred everybody there and then turned it into a park. Like
Mhm.
like that's
And
just common knowledge, and people.
yeah,
It isn't common knowledge. It can be if people look into it and
it
want to
should be.
look at the
And
history.
well, that's the fucked up things. People want to wonder. It's like, well, why do we need to do these equity, diversity, blah blah programs? It's like, well, because man, were your people ever fucking bulldozed? It sounds like it sucks, right? They tried. Black people tried to build their own wealth, and you said, "Fuck that." Like we're gonna bulldoze it, and they're like, "Well, we tried, guys. What else
Well,
should we do?"
also, anytime minority groups have strong leaders, anytime minority groups have a designated goal or path to self governance in some way that isn't reliant on the federal government, they get assassinated, they get demonized, or they get drugs and everything else pumped into their communities until it destabilizes itself.
Yeah. Oh
Every
yeah.
time. It still happens today.
Martin Luther King, and I mean at the same time, all of the minority leaders at the time. I mean, I know you don't know Leonard Peltier that much, but I mean, like Leonard Peltier at the same time,
Same
around the
group.
same time. Yep, they're like, hey, we're gonna imprison you, we're gonna kill him. And we're like, oh shit, okay, can you just do that? Like, we're gonna.
If you're studying history and all you feel is happy things, you're reading propaganda. Like
100%.
regardless of what side you're on, like regardless of whose position you're supporting or not supporting, history is most often cruel, most often bloody, and it will repeat. Um yeah.
Yeah, we as a people, humans just kind of suck because we need
As a
to.
baseline, we have to make active effort to not suck. Yeah.
Yeah, which is wild to me because I know a lot of very, very kind people, and also I try to be very kind. But I don't know if that just because it's the people I try to hang around with, or if it's just individualistic people are very kind. Like I had a conversation with my boss. So this might be in most cultures, especially and for natives, is very very particular. When we go to like food, barbecue, and stuff like that, it's always you'll hear the announcement at the beginning of it, like elders up first, and the elders will go eat. When we have family barbecues and stuff, we always make sure we go and I'll go grab my mom or my auntie a plate and stuff like that. And then little kids eat, and then after them, now that everyone else can eat. And it's so wild to me to see certain people. Like we went to some other people that came to like some of the barbecues and like that. They're like either married into the family or like that, and see their family come up and just not just skip in front of elders and stuff like that. Which I'm like, okay, maybe you don't know, but also just take everything. You know
Oh,
what I
the
mean? Take
greed. The
yes,
greed of being
and I'm
like,
like, dude, yeah, half the people haven't eaten yet. What the fuck are you doing? You know, like, and they'll see like chicken or something. They're like, well, I really like chicken, so I'm just gonna take all of the chicken. It's like, hey man, I like chicken
you're
too.
like, did you just put 6 breasts on your plate? You won't
Yeah,
eat 6 breasts. What are you
yeah.
doing?
Let's relax. Yeah, and shit like that. It's just like, did you not grow up with any manners? Like, who the fuck taught you, man? Like, don't get me wrong, I grew up poor too. I like to take shit, but I'm like, I'm not gonna take in front of.
Well, that's also the other thing. Most people that I know who grew up poor, grew up impoverished, or like missing something vital for them, they aren't selfish. They aren't
No,
takers. They aren't the people who go like, well, this is all my corn or whatever it is. They look around and like, did everyone get corn? Or can I take the rest of this? Is this okay?
yeah,
That's the people who are generous.
it's such a wild like thing like that because you think they'd have more of a survival mentality, but I agree. A lot of people I hang out with and stuff like that. We'll go like the bar. I'm like, oh no, I'll get the tab. You're like, what the fuck am I doing right now? I'm not that rich, but hey, at least everyone else will feel good for a second. But then the
Hmm.
next time we go to the bar, they're like, oh no, I got it this time. It's like, okay, cool. We're acting like millionaires, maybe, but whatever.
But everyone gets to take a turn, so it evens out for everybody, and
It
everyone's like,
feels good,
yeah.
yeah. But for me, money's never been like I don't know. I don't understand people that want money like that bad. Like, don't get me wrong, I want more money to do things, but like, it's not to hoard. Like, I want to be able to buy things for people and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Well, gluttony, the deadly sin, gluttony in the Bible, it was never about eating too much or becoming fat. That's sloth. That's what sloth is. Gluttony is hoarding wealth. Gluttony is taking more resources and money than you need or deserve.
Which
That's
is
what
like,
gluttony is. And that's the deadliest sin that we have in America,
yeah,
without a doubt.
it's so crazy to me. It's what's the point? Like I can't imagine. Like if you gave me $1 billion tomorrow, I'm like, oh, we're solving some shit. First of all, fucking, I'll keep $1 million or for myself, whatever. And like, but first, let's fucking get some. We're gonna fix this homeless problem. All the kids are getting free school lunches. First of all, I'll do it myself. Fuck you.
First things first, Oregon, all your kids, free lunch.
On me.
Minimum.
Round of free lunches. Yeah, it's like, why would that not be your first thought? If you have the ability to do that. And the thing is, too, is this is why I have so much hope. Is so many people that think like that I meet in like these programs and within government agencies now, they don't think the same way. They're like, how can we help? And it's like, that's a good question to ask. I love that. That's your first question. Let's help. And there's always going to be people that want to help. I think there's just so many people that are so selfish and so like, me first. You're like, chill. We'll get to you. Like, we'll all get a turn. It's people that stand up on the plane first. You want to go from the back.
Oh, that's crazy. Sorry, not even like just being selfish, but just being in the position like I'm in the back of the plane. Give me first. That's crazy.
On a plane. Hold on. I sorry. I have this stupid story.
Sure, go for it.
On my ride back from Detroit, or to Detroit, the plane was delayed a lot. We got on the plane, and the stewardess comes up and says, "Hey, because I was going to Detroit. A lot of people in Detroit was their stop in between. And the stewardess comes and said, "Hey, we're going to land soon. Because of it's our fault. There's a delay, but there's like 4 or 5 passengers on here that need to get to a flight. Can everybody that is not those passengers please stay seated? Let them get out as quick as possible." Do you want to guess what happened?
Everyone stood up, didn't they?
So many people stood up, and I was sitting next to the lady next to me, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to get up?" She's like,
"No."
What the fuck's wrong with these people? Yeah, and I'm like, you just heard her. She knows there's only 4 or 5 of us that need to get to that plane. You piece of shits. Like, what is wrong with you? So mean, so rude. Sit down.
Right, and the fact that it takes action to become an asshole in that situation makes it so much worse. The inaction is being nice. I'll just sit down for an extra minute, 5 minutes if they're a fucking elderly woman or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you just could have done nothing. Just chill out.
Just not doing anything makes you a better person, and then you choose to do something. Garbage. Trash.
And that is just such a fucking of society. It's like, because it wasn't everybody. Not
my business manager left.
He's tired of hearing this shit.
Yeah, he's like these yappers.
I fucking hate these. Yeah, but people, well, yeah, I don't know when's the next good time for you to meet though.
Today was pretty good, actually. I liked meeting up at 7. I think 8 is perfect because normally I start streaming around 3 to 4. Then I stream for about 4 hours, and then we could do this, and then I could just do the change it over to just chatting and change over all my stuff, and we can live stream this stuff.
Okay, that'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it would at least grab some attention, maybe some chatters or whatever, and people could ask questions to us about what we're thinking or what we're doing, and we could do live response, stuff like that as well.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool. Just a general political talk. Because I will have the next 2 weeks off.
Oh, sweet. Like straight?
Yeah. That's our. They're giving us a 2-week rest and relaxation off. So I technically have to work 15 minutes a day, just check my email and stuff. But
no.
Yeah, I know. Some people, dude, our new counselor, he's getting fired. He was like, one of these bitches. He's like, well, just we got to fill out these forms. They make you fill out a form and be like, hey, these are projects I'm working on. These are my plans to get them done when I get back. We have to check 15 minutes in case of emergency. We have to list someone else we want them to call if we're busy and it's an absolute emergency. And he's like, this is just so ridiculous. I'm like, dude, like when they announced it, like I was like, bro, we didn't even know we were getting 2 weeks off, and you're bitching about the 2 weeks off. What are you talking about? Shut up.
That's the other thing. Some people don't know how to live with happiness. They don't know how to experience joy, and they only know grief. And
And
that's how
you
they
know,
live. That's how they strive.
remember in Shawshank Redemption with the guard? Have you seen that movie, right?
I've seen
I'm
it.
assuming.
It's been a
Okay.
while.
Okay. So when they're on the roof, when Andy Dufresne first talks to the guards about doing their accounting for them,
Mm-hmm.
the guard is bitching. He's like, "Hey, "Well, my brother died." And the other guard's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He goes, "Don't be. He's an asshole, but he did leave me some money." He's like, "Oh, well, that's good." He's like, "Oh, really, dipshit?" He goes, "The government's gonna take half their money, and they're gonna be all up to me." And the one of the prisoners is like, "Boy, some people have all what, huh?" It's like it's like you're bitching about getting money that you didn't know you were getting,
Right,
and that's
right.
how people have just fucking stupid attitude.
It's like
It-
when you become a billionaire and then you're mad that your tax bracket increases, and you're like, you're still getting way more money than you ever had.
I know.
What are you talking about?
You still got $1 billion, right? You still buy whatever you need.
Oh shit! I won the lottery, but they're gonna take $300 million of it. I'm only gonna have $700 million.
Oh, I'll take
Oh
the stuff if you want.
shucks, motherfucker.
How about this? I'll take the 700 million, so you don't have to deal with it. Because I agree, bullshit.
You're like, oh yeah, that's terrible. Oh god, you shouldn't have to deal with that. Give me the ticket.
Yeah,
I'll have
no.
to deal with it.
Uh,
What a curse.
that's actually what I told my boss. I was like, I can take this 2 weeks if you want. I'll be gone for a month if it's too much of a hassle.
You're like, let
It's like,
him work 2 full weeks and I'll just take his extra 2 weeks. Pay
yeah,
me, but like other than that.
that's fine, really.
And I'm thinking your boss went, there's something very similar to that.
Yeah, you're thinking about it. Come on. No, yeah, just I don't understand. Some people want to be miserable. I think, which is
Have
horrible.
you been writing on the book at all? Or working on the book at all?
Not really. A little bit of more research stuff, but not really any
Cool.
going into it.
If you wanted to work on the book at all, let me know. I'd be easiest and best to do that in the morning for me. That's when my
Okay,
brain is the most creative, early mornings.
gotcha.
I'm talking
Okay.
like 10 a.m. when I said early morning, which isn't early, but nonetheless.
Okay, and then also I would like to try to run. I want to try to play a D&D game soon. I'm thinking about doing online. If that's something you were going to do eventually, are you still running one right now?
I am writing a D&D campaign.
I want to do a one shot.
We could do a one shot. Do you want to play in a one shot?
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be crazy if you're like, I want to run a one shot. Yeah, we could play a one shot, especially since you got some time. Do you have other players who would be interested?
Well, I know Pena and Steven wanted to play. Pena came over for my birthday on Saturday, and
Your birthday was
yeah,
on Saturday?
yeah.
Where's my invite? My
I wouldn't.
goodness.
I didn't do anything. Pena just came over. He didn't know either. I kind of forgot myself. It was very weird. So
Happy
I've been working a
fucking
lot.
birthday. Happy
Oh,
birthday
thank
to
you.
you.
Yeah,
Congratulations. My
thank you.
God.
Well, I didn't really plan anything because I knew my sister basically told me to be at the church where we play volleyball at 5 on Sunday, and I was like, okay, that'll be my birthday thing. Because I kind of forgot because I was working a lot, and then I was like, oh, it is my birthday. It's on a Saturday, and then I wasn't gonna do anything, and then randomly Christian hit me up, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just at home. He's like, okay. He's like, is it cool if I come over? Megan went to the coast, and he's like, I just want to stay home. I'm like, sure. And I was like, it's my birthday. And he's like, oh shit, it's your birthday. And I was like, yeah. So he came over,
How old are
and
you?
then 34 now.
Damn. No.
I know, getting old.
Well, happy birthday, my friend. Congratulations. You've made it another year. Here's to
I
another
survived.
34 years. Good luck.
Yeah. Oh, fucking hold on now.
Oh,
So
hold on.
that looks painful. No, yeah, it was cool. Like I said, Sunday was great. We did a volleyball thing. Did a potluck. It was really fun.
Yeah. Do you want to do it in Salem, or would you like to come down to Albany? And we could do it at my house.
For
D&D.
D&D. Albany would probably be better for everybody if it was to be Pena and them if they want to do it. I know Pena's about to have a baby though, so we'll have to see how that goes.
Well, I was
But
talking
these
about
other
for a
things.
one shot, not for a campaign.
Yeah, yeah. For a one shot, yeah. I mean, your house will probably be the best. You have all your stuff there already.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll do that.
Um,
Let's set something up for. Let's talk to Steven and Pena and anybody else you can think of. I think I'd have a max of 5 people, so invite whoever you desire out of
okay.
up to fill that or less than. And then yeah, I could run a game pretty easily. It'd be fun.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be fun. I was thinking some of the old school people, if they want to play, or I don't even know. I mean, if Mads and them want to play or whatever too. I don't know, whoever.
Yeah. Okay. I'll ask around.
Uh,
I know
uh,
Katie would like to play. She always likes
yeah,
playing.
Katie, there you go. Yeah, because I'm trying to get
Next weekend is the Art and Air Festival, so can't do it that weekend. Or I think during the week is perfect for me. It's super easy for me during the week. It's just that everybody else is difficult.
okay. It's actually perfect. Next weekend does not work for me either. I'll actually be in Seattle. I might take Gareth with me. I'm trying to get him a job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, apparently he's been struggling to get a job after he graduated. He works for like the school still, but he wants like a better job, obviously. And so I'm going to bring him. I have a Airbnb in Seattle, was cheaper than a hotel. Um, yeah, weird. So I got one. And have you heard of PAX West?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's going on that weekend, which I did not know.
Okay, cool.
So I'm actually going down there for a
That's
training. My company.
My boss is
Huh?
back.
Oh, hey, Kitty. Uh, sorry, sir. We'll get back to work here. I do apologize. You're on the clock. No, yeah. So, anyways, PAX West happens to be that weekend. I didn't realize it because I'm going down to Seattle to do a training, and so my company's paying for it. And my plan was always to go Thursdays to training, and then I would stay that night, and then I would stay Friday night as well into Saturday and leave Saturday.
Okay.
And then yeah, and then Pena told me Gareth was struggling to find a job, and so I called Gareth and was like, "Hey, man, I'm going to Seattle, and I'm going to be having a dinner with like fucking people from like 10 different like agencies and companies and stuff. Because the people I know in Seattle, I'm like, I'm sure they all know like that's a perfect time to meet people and to say, hey, I have an engineer. Do you guys know anybody?
Do you know any people who need engineers?
Yeah,
Nepotism fully at work. I love it. This is exactly
what,
how it's supposed to be used.
100%. And so I told them, I was like, just come with me, come to the dinner, and then we can go to PAX West on Friday. And then
The thing is, Gareth has a singular personality. You know what I mean? He's a very unique person, and I feel like a lot of times he comes off rough to people.
Absolutely.
So as an engineer, that's fine. Like you're supposed to be doing work, not really chatting everybody up. But interview processes are difficult for engineers, specifically for that reason.
Well, and I told him, I was like, one thing I am fairly decent at is like, you would not be the first person in this position that I've gotten a job. My whole job is connecting people. And as especially in like nonprofits in Indian country, you sometimes are unsupported in getting those positions filled, and they just don't know how to get them. Like maybe you might even be like, it might not just be that, hey, maybe we know some of the job. You might be in demand in those areas. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
So like
Well,
when I get
fingers
there,
crossed. I hope he gets something good. Like I only want success for him. That's awesome.
that's what I told him. I was like, dude, you're such a good dude, and you're very, very, very smart. I was like,
Oh,
the one thing I can
he's
vouch for is how
brilliant.
fucking intelligent you are. So I will vouch for you that you are very intelligent and a hard worker. Everything else, I'll let you shine on your own. But yeah, I'll put him in the position. Hopefully somebody will be hiring him. So we shall see. But yeah. So, anyways, that weekend I will be in Seattle with him. Hopefully, if he can make the trip.
Sweet. All right. In that case, let's plan for next week then, or at least sometime next week. Come up with a day or a time that you'd be able to, and we'll be able to get people together. Weekends are good usually. I mean, but I don't really want to wait 2 whole weeks to do a one shot with you. It's always fun to play D&D. So
Yeah, no, that's smart. And then whenever you have time to meet again, if you want to try to actually go over something similar to this, like I said, we can. You're right. Discuss something maybe Oregon politics related, or that also is like an effect countrywide.
how's Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday? Around the same time, probably 8 p.m.
I feel like Wednesday would work better for me.
Tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, that's tomorrow. Yes. uh, yes, I think that would work better for me than Thursday. Unfortunately, because that'd be back to back.
That's fine.
If that doesn't work, I can do Thursday as well.
No, I mean that works for me. All right, let's set it for tomorrow then at 8,
Okay.
and then we'll reconvene. So we'll just do this again tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
All right,
All
if
right.
that's the case, I'm
Cool.
gonna go eat food.
Yes, me too. All right, good talking to you, Jonah.
Bye, Tony. Have a
See
wonderful
you
day.
later.
Goodbye,
You
my
too.
friend. All right, YouTube people, thank you guys so much for coming in, hanging. Oh, I'm still live, but I turned off my camera. Whoopsie daisy. All right, goodbye, everybody. Thanks so much for watching, hanging out, and having a good time. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all the stuff. You guys are champions. Bye-bye.